Back home now, and we're just having fellowship with Dr. Sunday. So join us if you can. It would be nice to have you guys.
We'll pray for you and resurrect you. So let's bring the cake out. I'm already 50 kilograms. It's my body. I'm already 150 kilograms.
Oh, sorry.
My body, the 50th body is not 50 kilograms. Wow. You can't believe it. Did you see it? I was sending you. Hello. Where did you remove your clothes? That's the best I've seen you. I thought you'll be entertaining our eyes for the rest of the evening. Like see, he's entertaining our eyes for the rest of the evening. All right. Do you see? Where is Caron? Is that gone? Okay. I can't believe it. People were having parties everywhere. Yeah? Yeah. I saw videos of parties from London. People gathered together having. They didn't even wash us because they were having their own party. They didn't watch you. They didn't even watch us. I thought I was the main hero. I discovered I was not.
Maybe they had an icon.
That was no. They were just. It's the spirit that celebrated. They didn't need me. They didn't need me. They didn't even put on our live broadcast to show themselves. They didn't even show what was going on here because they were having enough fun of their own, all by themselves. So I saw a video like that from London. I saw one like that from. I need to close this one. Let's go put somewhere else. If you want to hear my voice, I need to protect myself from that word first. So, yes, they were having a party like that in London, in Brussels. Yeah. They were having the same party, right? I saw it. And then in Lagos, they were having the party. Even in Abuja, they were having it. Wow, that's good. Yeah.
And the double, Pastor.
I saw other places where they gathered together today having DSA party, and they couldn't even get us in there. So, but I think we had a nice time all by ourselves. Yeah. If you are not the type that gets tired, we are still here, continuing. Thank you, everyone.
When I was coming, I was telling some of my co-workers that I'm going for a party in Ukraine. They're like, "Oh, is it a big one?" I said, "Yeah, it's a big guy." I enjoy myself.
Going for a big party. Well, welcome everyone. Thank you for your time. Why is Pastor Greg was there? He's lost again. When a man begins to behave like that, I'm beginning to be suspicious. The only answer might be that guy might be in love somewhere. When guys begin to get lost like that, I become suspicious. If you do your research, part of the truth. Otherwise, guys cannot just be lost from all the crowd and be on their own by themselves in some rooms. Rooms are not so fascinating. I don't think rooms are as exciting. Or especially hotel rooms by themselves. They don't inspire so much. There's only one force that could inspire a young man.
You got it right.
Huh? You think I'm mistaken?
No, you got it right.
There's only one force that could inspire a young man like that.
I'm prayer, sir.
Huh?
I'm prayer.
I'm prayer. Well. When, let me tell you who was it? Was it David or Solomon? Is it David? Solomon, I think. It's only Solomon who talks like that. When Solomon was explaining the mysterious things that nobody knows how it happens, apart from the antelope and all those things climbing the hills and the snake and the part of the snake and all that. When you talk about human being, apart from the pregnancy in the stomach, the only other thing left is the heart of the young man. That's the only mysterious thing that. So it didn't include prayer there. The mysterious things. Okay. Okay. So when people are lost that way, we'll do our investigation and report back to you. Are we live already?
Yes.
Ooh, wow. Ooh. Let's hear your impressions of today. I want to get the feedback. I always teach my church, my ministers, my members, that whenever you come out of a meeting, don't be like Americans and go to McDonald's after that. Even if you go to McDonald's, not necessarily McDonald's, restaurant, even if you go to the restaurant, make sure nobody distracts you from the topic you just heard from the meeting. For you to, one of the great, I have a teaching that is called how to make the word flesh. And anybody who's hanging around me for some time, they notice that I always ask questions. This is not about me or anything. Any meeting you go to, make sure that the next 3 hours, you are either all by yourself meditating about what you just heard, what you just experienced, and that's the way to retain it. Otherwise, we just become like normal Christians who go to church last Sunday, and by the time they come back this Sunday, they don't even remember what happened last Sunday, because they don't retain. And in most churches, when people come out of church, they just begin to make noise, talk about every other thing, every other thing. What food to eat, what menu, but not about what they just experienced. And the purpose of any experience is conversion. So if you are not retaining it, because you must convert the information or the knowledge into understanding. That conversion from knowledge to understanding never happens. For it to happen, there are several ways for it to happen. That is for the word to become flesh. One of the basic ways for it to, the easiest way for any word that you get to become flesh in you is to make sure that the first 3 hours you retain it, or you not just retain it, you abide in it. That's like Jesus was saying, abide in my word, let my word abide. So when that word comes to you, there are several ways to abide in it. The first one is to be by yourself meditating. But if you do that, then other people will think that you are not social, and you don't want to socialize with them. You want to come to your basement in the whole wide world. Yes. You don't want her to monopolize it. They said there is no monopoly in the house.
No, I thought that she's my roommate.
My best mentor in the
whole wide world.
It has to be wide. Okay.
It can't be best mentor, and it can't be whole. It has to be best mentor or whole wide
world. Wow. So what is that? Is that
ITWW. W. The whole wide world.
I'm not so smart for that. My head is not so smart to retain that one. Let's bring people nearer now. The ones who have been here earlier, let them come closer so that the late comers will be at the back. That's the way to do it.
Oh, but nice, yeah.
Okay? He has redeemed himself. Okay, you guys, you don't care. I'm going to act. I told you yesterday, men must never be passive. Men must never be passive. When you hear instruction, never allow instruction to be repeated. No instruction must be repeated the second time in your presence. Never allow an instruction to be repeated the second time. But then you must make a way for people. You must make a way for people. To exit. Yeah, you must make a way for people. Who knows why an instruction must never be repeated the second time? Who knows why? Okay, give me the explanation.
Well, one is that disobedience if you don't obey it the first time.
Right.
Second is you're training yourself to be disobedient.
Right.
Third is you are becoming a pain in the tuchus, as we say in Yiddish, for your mentor, because why should he have to tell you twice the same thing that he already told you? And the biggest reason is because if you're going to disobey wisdom on the earth from a mentor, you're going to disobey God from heaven.
Okay, but that's I would have ended with all the reasons you gave. That's a bit too sharp, a bit too harsh for the beginning. That would have been my own last point.
Sorry.
I thought I should start with the softer one. These guys know the crush me. You see, these are all DSA people. If you break my bone, they are going to hold you responsible. Yes, of course. With these muscles.
We saw the pictures of you when you looked like that. We saw it.
I lost my own long time. I am 50. So I'm an old man. An old man doesn't need muscles anymore. Since I'm an old man, so let me talk about that. So where were we?
Let me do it more gently, please. Can I read it?
No. You blew your chance. Please, you couldn't put Yes, be an upstart. Huh? You are saying something?
I said that means you're wasting
Don't break.
your mentor's time.
Yes.
You don't respect his time. You're wasting his life.
Right.
If you allow him to repeat more than once.
Right.
You're not in the here and now.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say.
Wow.
Sorry, Carol Wise, sorry.
I think somebody has been living in this house for the past.
So live consciously.
Yeah, live consciously. But the reason why you should an instruction must never be repeated in your presence is that people who own and who possess what you need, they are not waiting for you. They don't even like you because they don't like competitors. So if they release something and you are so careless to let it go, that's why you are where you are. You are not the type that goes up. Even if it is shared, they say you should carry. It's just about habit, lifestyle, mindset. It means you have not gotten yourself there. You have not cultivated in yourself the habit of immediate response. And you cannot be the top 3% in the world without that habit of, what do you call it?
Immediacy. Immediacy.
No, is it
Spontaneous.
Living consciously.
Is it habit?
The habit. To cultivate it. To cultivate a habit. Create a habit. A behavior.
I'm looking for synonym to habit. A culture. So if you don't have that culture, if you don't, ingrain that into your system, you listen to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any instruction that is carried out later than 5 seconds, you are already too late. You are at the back seat of life. If you carry out instruction later than 5 seconds, give me your bottle, borrow me your bottle. Take it. Take it. Take it. Take it. 5 seconds. Borrow me again. I will see how, if you are as good as your afro. We will go win today. Now you are afro. 5 seconds. She was going to crush me. I have to give up. Igbo girl. You know they waste time. She was ready to get it. So 5 seconds. 5 seconds. But yesterday, the same thing happened. I said, let's rearrange. Some of us were just standing. I'm sure we either didn't hear, and why you don't hear is because you have not cultivated the culture of being here and now, being in the here and now. I think I wrote the book for it's going to be on Amazon, How to Be in the Here and Now. If you are not in the here and now, forget, go to sleep. That's the way the whole world is sleeping. Only people who are in the here and now respond with under 5 seconds to everything. Not just to instructions, to everything. If you notice anything, advertisement, if you notice anybody said anything, you can never say something for me to say, what did you say? I never miss it. I never, people go to daydream and do something like, oh, you wake up. It never happens to me. For the past 30 years of my life, nothing like that ever happens to me. I never go to say, oh, I thought I was thinking something. I never think anything. I'm always in the here and now. Not just me, but anybody who is going to rule their world. You must only be like that. Nothing else is allowed. It's not a written law or unwritten law. Nobody negotiates it with you. The word is just competitive. Your Highness. I'm the fastest. You see, I'm the fastest again. I'm the fastest again. You see? Because he's been part of my life, but it has not become part of the life of many people. Why should I be the one to pick it up? But there are some people, especially, I think it's in most places, but here in this country too, who think that they are bosses. They are leader or boss or pastor or a man. Especially the men. Yes, especially the men. To move a chair, something mundane or something small in their own eyes. They are, my own leaders, they will be standing. I will be saying, oh, okay, you guys, let's fix this place. Then my own assistants, the pastors, then the pastors under them, then the pastors under them, they will say, well, the security guys are there. Or the people, the members are there, or the boys are there. My driver is there. I said, Shileke, make God punish you. No, I don't do that. Or something like that. I said, how come you have hands on legs? And I'm saying, no, they just think that they even think I'm not even talking to them. Really, I'm not talking to them. I'm talking to anybody that hears. But since they are the ones who are near, why should you call somebody who's not near when it's in your power to do? So I just think, so they are thinking it is subordinate. It is, what do you call it? Subordination? Yeah, chain of authority. So the chain of authority, which is true, is legitimate. I teach that too. But why should I wait for chain of authority when I could just move the thing here? Why should I wait for chain of authority when I can pick the thing up? I'm not paralyzed now. The leadership doesn't paralyze me. Because I became a leader doesn't mean I lost the use of my hands and my feet or my heart. And that's what is killing the body. I have seen big men, especially in Africa and other places, they don't do things they feel are below them or something, or beneath them. So they are waiting. Everybody is waiting to do the same thing with men of God and believers even. They don't do things they think the politicians are supposed to do. It is the government's responsibility to fix that road.
Yeah.
That's why I know I'm going to fix Nigeria.
Amen.
But while they are waiting, I'm going to be working. Where is success? He's sleeping. Make him go find out. He cannot afford to make this kind of meeting.
I'll go get him.
Even anybody you find there who is not sleeping. I just don't understand that. How can you be in the house when something is happening? Okay, let them come. I go talk. I will talk when they come. Yeah, but that's not what we started with.
We started with how to make the word flesh.
Then you are a dangerous man. Very, very.
You started making, the topics.
So what did I say?
You said,
I think before that you wanted to get feedback. How the day has been.
Yeah, that's how we started feedback. You see, we are getting better. We are getting better.
Your middle of your sentence was, when you come out of the teaching, take 3 hours to abide in it. Be by yourself meditating. But if you want to be social, and then we didn't finish that sentence.
Brilliant. You guys are sharp.
You're a great man.
Because it could just keep on going. There are a lot of things to talk about, but we are not going to do that. She was like, you are giving them such a little cake. Is it just symbolic? Okay, you don't want them to go the kind of stuff that they can't carry. You are looking at this as if you are not ready. As if I'm giving her snake.
No, Pastor, that's not it. To eat here. I'm watching my eyes. I remember his birthday, so.
He said not everybody had ways together. That's
why it's a collective responsibility. We go to gym later on together. We're going to be working it out. Okay, so normally when we come out of any meeting, and those are the things we should teach your disciples, please. Please. One of the greatest things we will ever do, is to learn to make the word become flesh. Because it is only when the word becomes flesh, that is when we say conversion has taken place. You see, anything that is not converted into material manifestation doesn't benefit the earth. For example, there is light, right? There was a time, the only type of light that the world was aware of was the visible light. The sun, the moon. So, a whole lot of people were thinking that the world was limited by what they could see. If you are only going about, light, when the Bible says, let there be light, still up to now, a lot of Christians and everybody is thinking that they are talking about sun and moon. And if that is the case, then the Bible will be conflicting itself. Because if you open Genesis chapter 1, it is in verse 2, I think. Is it verse 2? Let's open it now. Make it up. Maybe I don't guess. Can you read it from verse 1?
2. And the earth was without form and void, And darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Verse 3, and God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good, and God divided the light from the darkness. Verse 5, and God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Okay. Now, the problem with this that many people don't seem to notice is that
we have to read verse 1 or we missed the whole point. Can I read it? We missed the whole point. Otherwise, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the earth was without form and empty waste, and darkness was upon the face of the great deep. The Spirit of God was moving over the face of the water. And then he read from there. So it was darkness first.
Yep, but
I think the sun was created on.
no. Yeah. That's what I'm getting to. But the thing that is here, the conflict that is here, that many people don't think about is that if the sun is the light and the moon is the light, see the fourth day, what happened in the fourth day? That's verse 16. Verse 16?
And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also.
So the lesser light is the moon, the greater light is the sun, right? So we know about that. But that happened in what? They keep on reading. What day was it?
And God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good, and the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
What, the fourth day? So if that was the fourth day, God only created sun and moon. So what light are we talking about before that? So if sun was not created, moon was not created, how could you say let there be light? And what light was divided in verse 4? So people could take this, even scientists could take this and mess up the Bible and say the Bible is just contradiction. He said he has not created sun now. And he had not created the moon now. And you are talking about some light. Make you throw the thing away, it's not valuable for the day. The Bible, forget about it. It's not coherent with science. That's what people will say.
Yeah, I've heard it.
You've heard it before?
Yeah, I've heard it. Even this verse 16, where they talk about the two great lights, they actually said that the moon is not a light.
Okay.
Because the moon gets its light from the sun. So when they talk about it, they said the greater light and the lesser light that the Bible was talking about is Jesus and the devil. Jesus being the light.
No, that's another one. That one is not scientific. I'm talking from the scientific point of view. So anyway, so here, talking about this one, that what light? How could there be light? And light was not created.
Yeah.
Okay, illumination. Where does that come from? So the thing is that there are people can only have conflict with this only because they are limited, thinking that the visible light is light. And people who only have problem with this if they are only judging by thinking that light is sun, or light comes from sun, or light comes from moon. But the truth is that it is only it is only now that we have discovered that there are 5 categories of light. But now we discover. But since the 17th century, it was discovered that there was another category of light apart from sun. visible light. That was when the microscope or whatever telescope was invented. Telescope was invented. That was just the first discovery to see that, oh, there is another kind of light. Oh. But now we have seen that there are so many kinds of light, and it's because of light. Okay, how many of you have Wi-Fi right now? You know, it's as a result of light. Wave. Light. So there is light in form of wave. There is light in form of the visible light. They are just the most elementary. So for somebody to question God, to say there is no God, that person has to be.
It was lights that
So for someone to question God, that there is no God or something, because you are using your natural eyes to gauge. Okay, what do you know? There is another. It was much later, after the telescope, that they discovered the light that is X-ray light, that is responsible for X-rays. You know, it is light that makes you to be able to see X-ray. You know, that's why X-ray. You know what is inside. You know, we cannot see through right now. But it took 2 centuries later for us to discover that there is actually the third type of light, which is the X-ray light. Then it took another century for people to discover that apart from that other third light, that there is, this second third light, then there is the fourth light, which is the light of, by which, communication, sound light, yeah? Sound speed is part of light, also sound. Speed is light, by the way. Any kind of speed is light. So, telephone, telecommunication, that is another category of light that is responsible for that. It travels. And that's what was responsible for electricity as well. So electricity light, electrons. Electrons is another kind of light. That was called. So all this light were the thing God was referring to. And the last light, this fifth light that was discovered is the light that goes through, just like ghost. You see, a ghost could come in now and go through the wall. Because it's a ghost, right? You see, that is exactly that light that is responsible for Wi-Fi. That's why you could be in a closed place and you are receiving internet. But you say, but the door is closed now. This is a closed place. No, it doesn't matter. It is another kind of light. I don't know if you get it.
Yeah.
So these are all light. So when God said, let there be light, it's too deep. Because he himself is the light of the world. Yes. That's why the most powerful thing we could all be connected to is to light. And he said he is light. And he is life. But why am I saying this? Is that when you get the word, because he said in the beginning was the word was with God. The word was God. And then he said, and that word, it was the light.
Yeah. Explain.
That lightened the whole world. And it shined, and the darkness could not embrace it or comprehend it. In your Russian language, it says the light cannot contain it or embrace it. The darkness cannot embrace it or contain it. That's the way it says in our own language. Well, it says comprehend it? Comprehend it, yes. So what does it say? And this light word is light. So the higher kind of connection, you say everything is energy in life. Yes. And life is about energy. You know what? The other time I was doing question and answers, and people were saying, I was explaining to people how miracles work, and that it is so primitive for us to be following miracles or looking for miracles or running after miracles. And I was just telling them why I don't even pray for miracles, but miracles will still happen. I don't even need to. I was even talking about Saudi Arabia. You could be there and be as effective. I could be there and be as effective as here without even preaching. So I was explaining to them how miracles happen. And I was telling them that when the woman touched Jesus, you remember anybody who watched that? When the woman touched the hem of Jesus' garment, Jesus was not even aware she was touching him. But still, something happened. So what happened? Because Jesus was a concentrated carrier of light. Light is the greatest energy.
Yeah.
Of course, there are other sources of energy, because we are thinking power. I mean, if you want, you might not use energy. I say power if you want. So that might be more, better religious for religious people. So, yeah. If you say energy now, they will say either you are science or you are new age. So the greatest source of power is light. And that's why light is what is that one for electricity. Electricity is a product of light. So people don't know it. That's why, for example, if you are wearing what material, and I touch you,
nylon.
Is it nylon?
Silk.
Silk, yes. And it will touch, and when it sparks like that, what comes out? Shining light.
Yeah, static light.
And it shocks you too. It's light. Electricity is light. So it was the fourth kind of light that I spoke about, the fifth kind of light. So anyway. Well, energy, yeah. So the greatest source of energy or power is actually light. So someone like Jesus, he said, I'm the light of the world. That is loaded. He doesn't need sun that was created in the fourth day to be that light. That is loaded. He's talking about other degrees of light. He was not saying, because when God said, let there be light, without sun, without moon, and which came 4 days later, he was trying to prove to us that God doesn't need dependence on sun or moon or for a light to operate on. So when he's now saying this, that I am the light of the world, he's not referring to sun. I don't need sun or moon to be the light of the world. We are talking of another degree, a new height. That light that was with God in the beginning, and that darkness cannot comprehend. That was the light of the world. The same word. So why am I talking about this? Because talk about that woman, with the issue of blood. That woman with the issue of blood. When she touched Jesus, the reason that disease went away without Jesus even knowing is because Jesus was a concentration, is it condensation? Concentration of all positive energy. He was love. It was maximum love was him. So, but of course, the greatest power, the greatest source of energy is light, then love, then faith, then peace, then righteousness, then joy, forgiveness, all those things that we call fruits of the Spirit. Those are sources of energy. So Jesus had all that in himself, by himself. So every one of his cells were carriers of life by themselves. Even his words. So he had so much concentration of light inside that the word were what do you call it? Emanating energy, emanating power. That's why he had to tell them that the words that I speak, that is energy. They are spirit and they give life. So what happened was that woman went to touch the hem of his garment, and he was the concentration of all this energy. But any kind of evil, sickness, disease, everything is a symbol of negative energy. That's what causes diseases, sickness, and something like that. But when someone like Jesus, who is so full of positive energy, comes in contact, even in close vicinity, to anybody that has any destructive tendencies, negative energy, that superior energy, that superior source of light, that positive energy just automatically breaks down the elements. If you go to the laboratory, you can go to the library and work this out. It just breaks down the power of that sickness. So that's why it was recorded in the Bible that what went out of Jesus? Virtue went out of Jesus. In other translation, power went out of Jesus. What is power? Energy. So Jesus doesn't need to do anything. It is just like when negative energy and positive energy, electricity, spark, one has to destroy the other. The same thing happens here. So the stronger power, the positive energy has to destroy. So it went out of him, not through his prayer, not even through his consciousness. He was not even aware of it, but he was by himself. But what we say sometimes is that man is so powerful. That man, no, you are just a Christian. You are just a carrier of God. You are just a person who is close to God, or who has purified himself one way or the other, or who is living right, or who has been able to put in himself all kind of, the right energy, concentration. So if you are not somebody that is driven by fear is a negative energy, but by faith. If you are not somebody that has hatred tendencies, but you have love, you are automatically already a super powerful person. So if you meet with forces of evil or darkness, if you have positive energy, you are not, in fact, you have to be informed to be afraid of witchcraft. Because they are negative energy and light that is in you. It's past death. In fact, there is a man of God that told the story of when some witchcraft and wizards and everybody tried to touch him and come on. There was just some light coming out of him. Because they could see the spirit. But what they were seeing is the light of God that is coming from the concentration of the word, which is light that is in it. So what I'm saying is that whenever you hear the word of God, let's go back to it, right? And not just the word of God like preaching, but maybe you are in the atmosphere of, you experience the presence of God and things like that. Don't be in a hurry to go to that restaurant like people do in the West and begin to talk about it. Just release it by you just depleted it by yourself. What you're supposed to do, what wisdom tells us to do is retain it. Retain it first. You have to retain it. And one of the ways to retain it, number one, is to make sure that after you leave that atmosphere where you are blessed, where you are graced, where you feel the presence of God, concentrate. Maintain that concentration. Concentrate on that feeling, on that environment, on that word, on that content. Retain that in yourself. That is the process of the word turning into flesh. Because the word became flesh. Then it benefited us. He said the word became flesh and it walked among us. That's when it will benefit us. It will not benefit you if it doesn't become flesh. And then we behold. Then the next time what happens later on, when it has become flesh, then people could see it. There will be manifestation. Because the word itself is full of truth, it's full of truth, grace and truth. But if it doesn't become flesh, that grace and truth is not dissolved in you. It does absorb by you. It's like a capsule that goes into your body. If the capsule is in your hand or in your bottle, it's not dissolved in your system. So the grace and truth that is contained inside, but any capsule contains a medicinal something effect. It has to open inside you when you swallow it. So when it's open and dissolved, that the thing inside, the benefit inside, will strengthen your body and heal you and bring you whatever you need. The same thing, every word of God is containing some truth and some grace. The grace to become, the grace to do beyond. The grace is the ability of God to make you, to add to your own disability. And the truth is freedom from every other thing. So any word on any topic is containing the power to give you both freedoms. You shall know the truth shall set you free. So the truth is there to set you free from any other thing in relation to that particular word. So if it's a word about healing or about prosperity or something, so it's a word that is, the grace is there. And then the truth is there. Anyway, the truth is there, sorry, and then the grace is there. The grace is now to empower you to do beyond yourself. But what we do, go to church and come out and just deplete it immediately. You know, we come out to just go, hey, hello, Pastor. Everyone laughing, oh, boozy, everything is lousy. People never become superhumans because of that. They never become effective. So we have millions of people in churches who are not benefiting anybody because they are not turning the word into flesh. And there is nobody that is saying anything. There is nothing is benefiting. There is nobody that is doing any superhuman something. Nobody is getting different. Just going to church. Religion. That's the path of religion. So that's why whenever anybody comes to my environment, you see, when you went to see the whatever you went to see in the HMT, I always say, come and tell me first what happened. You were at the service before the HMT began. I will tell me what you got, because I want you to. So one of the ways to retain it is when you come out, go and be in a solitude situation. But it's not possible when there are thousands of people coming out around you and you have to talk. You are among people. So since that one is not possible, which is the ideal thing, be silent and begin to reminisce or come and, think about what you got. Number 2, take the notes. Go and really meditate about it. That's meditation. That's another way to make the word become flesh. Number 3, take the tape or the video. Listen to it as many times as pause it. Meditate about it. Work about it from 4 to 7 hours. Make sure that the word becomes flesh. So that's another way to transform the energy of that word, the truth of that word, the grace of that word to become flesh in you. Just the capsule to be. So, but the easiest way to do this is for you in the next 3 hours after you last, or between that moment you were in that atmosphere, or you heard that word, for the next 3 hours, be among people to just talk about it. So it's stressless. So everybody is just sharing what they got from me, but be detailed about it. Because what I've discovered is people don't even know how to share. When each time, almost all the time, when I ask people to share what they got, either they are afraid that they are going to occupy space and they don't want other people to. So fear of people will even make them not to even be able to absorb. So they just want to say one little thing and then keep quiet. Or, be thinking about their own thing. Or other people, and the next person we talk about something else altogether. And they all kill the whole thing. But the most beneficial thing to do is in the next 3 hours, for everybody to be sharing what they got. You share what you got, you share what you got, you share what you got. We're all talking about the same thing. We're going forth and, to and fro, forth and back all the time, at least for the next 3 hours. Then you don't need to go through the, excruciating process of you being alone by yourself. And because when you are in the midst of people, it's still easier. So in my environment, people who come under my mentorship, I try to encourage them to practice this. Because if you don't make the word become flesh, it's just as useless as going to church all these years, and it doesn't really help you. So, that's why.
Is it the same thing as written word?
Yes.
Both the same apply, both spoken and written word.
Yes. Okay. But with written word, if you are just reading it,
like when reading your books, for example,
and there must be somebody to discuss it with.
Okay.
If you are just reading by yourself, then you might not have someone experiencing the same thing you just experienced. Okay. But if you are reading it at the same time, then you can raise the topic of discussion. Then you are experiencing the same thing. Then you can support the conversation.
So if I read your book, for example, how can I make it become flesh?
Then you have to use all other points that I mentioned. Meditate.
Meditate, okay.
Yes, or write it down, ask yourself questions. The way to do that is like reading the Bible. You must, let's say the Bible says, love is not easily provoked. Or or maybe you read that in my book. So I said, not provoked. That doesn't look like me. I am easily provoked. Tell yourself the truth. You say love is not easily provoked. I know I am not rhyming. That's not me. I am easily provoked. And tell yourself the truth first. Let the word undress you. Let the word reveal your nakedness. So you say, I'm easily provoked. That one I know. Then go to the next step. Now that I'm easily provoked, this is who I am. You must start from who you are, where you are, for real. Tell yourself the truth. Let the world just shine. Like that, I talk about X-ray. Let it just do X-ray of you. So you see that you are naked, you are irritated, you can be provoked. And the Bible says love is not easily provoked. Then I'm in trouble. So how can I address that? So I just stop. I keep that word in my mind and say, love is not easily provoked. And I say, Father, in the name of Jesus, I can see the state where I am and where you want me to be. I'm in trouble. So I need your grace right now. And we already know where to get grace. Every word contains truth and grace. So that word itself that I've just read, that love is not easily provoked, has the grace to remove that deficiency in me. It has the grace to create what needed to be created. And it also has the truth to set me free from my irritation and being provoked. But it happens only when I meditate enough for that capsule to break down and to get. So how do I do that? Since I'm reading. So, and I'm not talking to someone, I'm just by myself. So I'm seeing that situation, I've told myself the truth, and I've started talking to God about who I am. That's what God likes. Because God needs you to be humble. He gives grace to be humble. So you need to confess. Come to Him in confession and say, God, the guy is bad.
There we go again.
Drop some others.
Don't tell me you are learning. Don't tell me you are learning.
I didn't learn. Even consciously. So you tell the truth to God. Confess. But make sure you are genuinely confessing and humbling yourself. Then you key into the grace. You know, the word contains two things. Grace and truth. So how do you get grace? God gives grace to the humble. So that's important for you to humble yourself right there. Break yourself down. You know, just submit your heart. Break down your heart before Him. Let that humility touch God's heart. You don't convince me about humility, you convince Him. He is the one that gives the grace anyway. So He's the one that must see that humility. So once you are, confessed and you have humbled yourself to it, you just begin to feel it physically. You just begin to feel the presence of that grace begin to flush through the way. It's like the thing is being diluted. You are digesting the capsule. So once you have now confessed and said, God, I am provoked. I'm easily provoked. I ask for forgiveness. Please forgive me. Then you can remember, you might want to remember other situations or similar circumstances where you've been provoked. Ask for forgiveness. Then you now say, I want to change. Now that I want to change, and since I want to change, I ask for that grace What is grace? Grace is the ability to do what you cannot normally do or naturally do in your own great power or strength. So, but it's also in that work. So, see, and how to tap into that grace apart from humility is, since you said love is not easily provoked, so it means I'm not supposed to be provoked. So, in the name of Jesus, let that grace come upon me. I don't want to be easily provoked anymore. So, in the name of Jesus, I believe you that your love is in my heart, and I don't want to be easily provoked. And I believe that you have answered me. I am not going to be easily provoked from today on. Then you go to the next gear. The next gear now is to begin once you have believed that you have received that grace, not to be easily provoked. Then you don't stand away from your prayers. You stop and say, now let me try, let me test and see how this prayer has been answered, how it has affected me. Then you stop and say, okay. Then you go back to similar situations where you are provoked in your mind, in your meditation. You just remember, okay, he slapped me or he stepped on my knee, and I fled and I lost it. What about if he does that now? What would now be my reaction? But you have to tell yourself the truth. You have to walk in the truth before God. So when you see that, I'm still feeling bad, yeah, I'm still going to feel it. Then you go back again, one step back, to the place of where you started. Being saying, I'm still fragile. But normally, if you are truthful from the beginning, you would have seen that you are a little bit better. That if you had imagined that before that prayer, that day, you would have been feeling the anger that no. But now that after the prayers, you are now imagining somebody provoking you again, you will see that the easiest provocation is no more getting you as mad. But if they keep on doing some more things, you see that now I'm losing it. So that is, you are going deeper in that, you could say, okay, I see that I'm better, but now I even need, what about if he does this? For example, let's say he step on my knees, I'm no more reacting. No. So, for example, me, I saw that I did that, I could have done that like 10 times in maybe a period of half an hour or 1 hour prayer, just imagining all kind of situations that got me provoked before. And I said I'm better and better and better. Then maybe in the next 1 day or 2 days, I'm still going back to that to test myself. What about if somebody comes to me and does that again? What about if somebody comes to me and does something worse? Then I'm saying that, okay, I've already passed this level of provocation. But this level of provocation, I still need grace. So I'm asking for more. And then for this level of provocation, I need more grace. Then I'm asking for more. So it takes me like 2 weeks before I go through the circle of personally. I need 2 weeks to just walk through that. Love is not easily provoked. So only at the end of 2 weeks, I do it like 3 times a day. Then I discover that any kind of provocation doesn't even get me anymore. So what about if I find my wife sleeping with another man? So that's why when I say something strange like that, some people will say, he's strange, or I can't do it. I have to consider every possibility of provocation. And I have to overcome it ahead before it comes. So I have overcome that already. I don't even care any amount of men she will sleep with. She's already forgiven. Why? Where? When I was receiving the grace now.
Yes.
When I was working out on myself, it's my own work. I don't care what she does. She does it. She doesn't do it. I don't care. It's me, about me. It's about the nature of God coming to me. It's not about anybody, what anybody does. It's about me taking advantage of anybody's evil or anybody's bad behavior to change mistake, to change myself into who I need to be. It's about me becoming who I need to be.
Amen.
So that's why I could talk about that like that. But some people are thinking I'm crazy. Okay, what about other situations, for example? Talk about death. What will make me to be able to talk to my child, 3-year-old child, about me being dead? That she should be ready for me to be dead and for her mother to be dead the same day. Why would I even consider that? Where some Christians would not even let death cross their mind. Or me and my wife imagining our 3 children dying one day. I've already walked that through. So that my reaction will be exactly like God's reaction.
Let there be light.
Let there be light. So light had set me free. So somebody, for example, I was sitting here now with my sisters, and somebody they will go and write articles about me, and they take photographs and say, you see, we told you. But I have already set myself free. Why? Because God taught me about the touch of God's love. I don't care if Jesus would not care, for the woman with the alabaster care. I don't care. I need to reflect God at any cost. So I don't care for your thinking, for your. I'm just going to be me, revealing God the way I am. Carry anything you want to carry. But for me, it's more precious that she feels well. She needed something while she left her place where she was sitting. And she said, I want to come and sit near to you, and I want to hold you. I am a deliverer. She needed that. I am a deliverer. I've got to give it to her. She needed that. She needed that light, that energy. That I must give it to her. So I must be a man of God, thorough and thorough, true and true. In the sense that not just a man of God in secret or in the open, or when people are not thinking, or when. No, I'm already sold out. I'm already dead. I'm only for him. I'm just carrying him. It's no more about what anybody will think, what everyone will say. I must serve with what he has put in me. But if you are still living in that fear, in the fear of this and that, then forget about it. You have chosen fear now. Leave God alone.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Pastor, it's so good. Let there be light that you were saying that. Because like when you said, okay, that's too harsh. So then I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, okay, Lord, I want the grace. And let there be light. What's the answer? And then the Holy Spirit shows. The answer to harshness is gentleness. Just focus on what you're saying. It's truth, but it's gentle. And
So
to keep working on it. Then.
Yep.
Yeah,
So I'm going to go back to our topic. What did you people get all these 3 days of today? That's why all these my long lectures. I'm sorry for giving you extra lectures just to get you to talk to me. Who go start? Okay, me I'm going to start.
Wow.
Because I'm beating you people to it again. I'm beating you people to it again. 5 seconds. 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
All right, today.
5 seconds. 5 seconds. You are good with the bottle, but with the thing they slow down.
Okay, let me not just give any excuse. There's no excuse. Yeah. Even when we were coming, let me start from the Genesis. When we were coming back today in the bus, I was sitting with Ngoya. So we were like, my God. I never knew that on birthdays are the days that you give presents. Nobody can comprehend you, Pastor. You are just something else, I'm like, this, another thing is that Pastor is somebody that he is too loud.
So, in the compound.
Like he says, as the way he said it, that like he's the one that initiates things. He's the one that brings out the style. I mean, the way things are done. I have never seen this kind of thing being done anywhere. Party is party, but I mean, bringing out 50 presents to share to, not just, because usually in the church we are used to, those at the top, the pastors, the ministers, the whatever. But here, even the least, the driver, the cleaner, the nanny, everybody felt like a human being. I was so not broken, I was so, I was so touched. I'm like, who can beat this man? And apart, these are just the one he just decided to do openly. But he does a lot of all these things in the secret. He gives and gives and gives. You understand? And I started thinking about my own life. You know, I'm like, Nikki, what are you actually doing with your life? You know, maybe people celebrate you, but I don't see anything that I'm doing compared to what Pastor is doing with love. This is, we were discussing and said this is liquid love. Even when we
light.
When we came back to the room, Galina was there too. I'm like, Galina, I'm just too curious. Show me your present. She showed me. I'm like, my God. Especially made for everyone, you know, with sticker. They even spend time to, you know, package it especially for everyone on his birthday. When usually on my birthday, I'm the one that will be waiting for presents from somewhere. I never thought of giving anybody anything. Though there is this, what do they call it? Fashion now. When people have birthday, they go to Motherless Babies Home. But that one is also show for me. Because you go there with just 2 granuts, you make pictures everywhere that you're feeding the, you know, nobody should be offended. But actually, you're not giving anything to those babies that have nothing. You understand? But this one, I don't know how much he has spent within these 3 days. I've been started thinking.
Over $100,000.
And it's not even the money. But did you see the way he was presenting the thing, you know, the present, kneeling down before these people? Can you imagine on the level of, I don't know, ecstasy or whatever, each and every one of them will be being recognized out of the whole God Embassy Church, 50 people. You understand? So I'm just too overwhelmed. I'm like, learn. My husband is not here. He left because he had to leave. I'm like, I don't know if I should say it, but staying beside Pastor, I envy those that are not married. You understand? Because
you could live without children.
Yeah, you could just
travel.
Just come here and just look at my wife. She's been here just sucking all the
no
wisdom.
children, no husband.
Yeah, it's not. I have a very wonderful marriage. I have a very wonderful husband. I have beautiful children. But when you find your purpose, you know there is something more. You know that you don't want any other thing. You don't even care about any other thing. You just want to just be there where you're supposed to be. And another, I think I'm going off point, but somehow I'm along the line, because there was a post I made today, like, there was a girl that was here and she congratulated Pastor on his birthday. I'm like, I'm so happy that this is coming from you, because my heart bleeds for a lot of students that are here. I'm saying this on purpose in case somebody will watch, that don't want to have anything to do with pastor because your pastor has told you that you shouldn't, or because your pastor tries to contradict, picking words from the Bible to, like, according to the Genesis 24:24, this is said, but you know that it's not changing their lives. Just listen to pastor a day, you will think about your life. But these children are being, I don't know, like I wrote there, they're slave masters that, you know, they're afraid of losing their slaves, so they cook all kinds of contradictions, all kinds of stories to keep this, like call them children, away from the truth. Feeding them with all kinds of doctrine, all kinds of nonsense that they, you know, they say it's the gospel, you understand? And these children believe that going to church and, you know, serving in the church is the main deal. But their lives have been wasted, because when they leave this town, this city, where Pastor Sunday resided, and they never even tried anyhow to come and meet him one day because of one pastor that nobody knows anywhere, that doesn't even know who he is in the first place. So I am pleading to anybody that is watching me now that know me, because I conduct a lot of whatever conferences, but nobody comes. No, at least not the number I expect, because Pastor said, Pastor didn't say. So he said, pity. But let's go back to the topic. Liquid love. Liquid love, okay? That is what Pastor has. And that is what I have gotten. To love anybody, no matter the status, and to show the appreciation. And to appreciate the person so well. I could imagine what was going in their hearts as they stand on those stage, you know. You know, everybody was waiting. Even I heard that when some people were called, the people were somewhere weeping. They're like, my God, what an honor. I have never seen it anywhere. All I've been hearing is come and sow one seed, come and sow your school fees, come and sow another thing, bring the seed offering, forgiveness seed, all kinds of seed, you know, the first fruit or whatever. That's all I'm hearing. Yeah, all kinds of seed. You know, here everything is given for free. Even sitting just beside, I said I'm coming down this evening, even if I'll be here sleeping, I'll still be getting something. You know, it is wonderful. Yes. And you know, I didn't get an iPad today, but pastors a few days ago, and I said, gave me money to buy iPad for myself. You understand? And these are things he does not announce. $500. Do you understand? This is the way he just gives. Even the fact that we came back here, it's midnight. The family are upstairs, the children. What is he doing here? He's totally sold out. I started asking myself, when will I start serving like this? Another example is when the family of these, all of them, like they have sacrificed 4 months to do this. And I said, how can I also somehow, together with my family, you know, sacrifice something to serve humanity, to serve something above, not about Ojimadu, but, you know, something else to benefit somebody else, to remove the focus off us, just as Pastor does. So I have a lot of questions. I was just sitting there, I'm like, oh my God. Pastor, you are something else, and if we can learn how to do, not just birthday, because this one is just, I think you wanted to speak to some people, apart from those that you gave the presents, for them to know, because this is the way, for them to know this is the way to do things. This is why you did it. Because you've been doing this every day, in many different ways. Those that are around you know that you give and give until you are give. So, I'm just lost of words. Every day I see a new you. Every day, though I have been with you for more than 20-something years, but every day I see a new you. And I just have to buckle up, I have to quicken, I have to change a lot of things.
Yes, sir. I'm one of the recipients of the gifts today, and I am still amazed, sir, because it's only just been 9 months, it's September of 2016, that I got connected with you, and I did not start doing any sort of publication for you straight away. And yet, you still trusted me, you know, and allowed me to serve you the way we've been doing for the past few months. To me, it's selfless love. Because I remember in January, I'd panicked. Something had happened to our family. And Pastor, I just sent him one line of text that this was happening, and immediately he called, and just like Jesus would do, we had made some errors, and he did not even judge us. He just stepped in straight away and sorted it out. Can I say, he immediately, because my husband, yeah, should I mention that? So, yeah. Okay, yes. My husband's job was just terminated then, and we relied on what was coming from his service there, and we didn't know what to do. And I called him, and immediately he stepped in that it's all taken care of. And up till today, we're still overwhelmed by that. And that was why I was saying to you that I'm going nowhere. And I'm going to talk to you about my decisions before you know, by the time I get to United Kingdom this week. Because there is no need to be going up and down about it. I know where I belong now. And I just want to thank you and your family for your kindness and your love. And I want the whole world to know that Dr. Sunday Adelaja is a second gift to life after Christ. That's my interpretation of it. Thank you, sir.
If I can just support what my wife just said.
I'm sorry, Mr. Shaw, to say my goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm leaving for the airport.
You are traveling? Oh. You know they pity us now. You stayed too short this time.
I stayed too short.
Because you have responsibilities. Safe journey to the Dr. God bless you, sir. Soon we are going to move you down here.
You got my daughter and my wife.
Say greetings to California. California. You don't know each other. They could go get acquainted now. Anyway, the wife will be remaining.
Let me say hi to her.
Okay. They are both from California. They don't DSA family. Somebody wanted to say something.
I was just saying that, just to add to what my wife said, while the whole process was going on, our older daughter called me and said, Dad, this is leadership. Now, you may not understand the meaning of that.
You mean tonight?
Tonight. Yeah. During the program. That was even before we were called, because we didn't know, I mean, we like the newest.
Most people didn't know that they were going to be called, really.
And he said, Dad, this is leadership. Excellent. Now,
she saw it.
Yes.
Yes, she just said that, yeah.
She's sharp.
And a lot of people here might not understand what that means. We have 3 children, and we gave birth to them and raised them in church or churches. The day my wife had our last daughter, came back from hospital on that same day that she delivered, got home, gave the baby to one of the people from the church that came to see us, left the baby with that lady and turned around, sat behind her computer, because our church was starting a conference that day and she needed to design the cover for the tape box for that conference. So all our children have seen us do is serve. Now,
that is extreme.
Now, they have seen us sweat, blood, and guts in serving. And they have seen how, again and again and again and again, the type of treatment or the type of handling, the type of, you name it, that we get. And for her to see a difference, now you can understand when she turned to me and said, Dad, this is leadership. You see, a lot of
they had seen the abuse.
In our family, there is no locked cupboard. Whatever is happening to one person, it's on the table. We all discuss. When the issue with my employment was going on, my children knew everything. Because we believe that every incident is a learning point. And if you rob them of what they will learn at that point, you may never have that opportunity again.
Excellent.
So, our children have seen all of that. But to then turn around and now see, here is another person in a position of leadership. Can I tell you something, sir? You know, our son did the intro for DSA TV.
TV, yes.
He did that with a condition. He said, Dad, Mom, I don't mind doing it. It don't cost me anything to do. But please, tell me this is not another exercise of following a leader who would then kick you in the teeth.
Wow.
Now, for a lot of people here, you've been in churches. But let me, pardon me, sir, give an understanding. There's a difference between being a church member and being in a church where you are in a position of knowledge, where you are not just a pew warmer, come on Sunday, come midweek and go home. When you are there 7 days a week, I resume work 8 o'clock. I have a resumption time, but I don't have a closing time. Been in the office till 1, 2. It's easy. It's not like once in a blue moon. No, it's almost a pattern. Because there's something to be done. There's something that's not been finished. There's something to prepare for tomorrow. And it goes on and on and on like that. So when you see church from the front end, like most of us have seen, that what you see is the show. What you see is the performance. It is when you go to the back room, when you go into the kitchen where the food is cooked, when you stay with the chef when he's dicing his ingredients, when you have to go to the market to buy the tomato, or go to the farm to pick the onion, now you begin to understand when she said, Dad, this is leadership. What we have experienced since we started listening to you, sir, it's not just the fact that we called you, you answered us, and no, it's not even that. It's the fact that this is, John the Baptist said, I am the voice in the wilderness. This is the voice in the wilderness, guys. This is the uncommon voice. This is the lonely voice in the crowds. And it is easy to miss it if you listen with your 2 ears. You must listen from your heart. You have to hear it in your heart. Now, tonight, we have just learned what it means, let there be light. Yes. I have been a Christian since 1992. I've never had any teaching. Now, this is not a sermon that was prepared. This is on the spot. That is the Spirit of God.
You said to Pastor last night, it would be an offense against heaven if he did not continue with what God has given him. Sir, I've known this man 14 years. I've only heard him prophesy to somebody like he did for you tonight twice in 14 years. It, excuse me, it would be an offense against heaven for you not to reveal what God is showing you for London.
Amen. So, sir, this is leadership.
Yes, it is.
You think this single thing could probably heal your daughters? Because 2 of their daughters are here.
Not that it could probably. I think it is their report to their brother. Our son's, his exam starts on Tuesday.
But he couldn't come.
He couldn't come. But even in all of that, he is still like, when I called him to say, I'm at the airport, and I said, Dad, have a nice trip, but
damage has been done.
Like Igbos will say, wine. Gently, gently. I don't want you guys to go headlong,
damage has been
diving into this, and you just bang your head against the ground, against the concrete.
And this is what's happening to so many people. It's not just us. A lot of families are experiencing it. When we see teenagers, rebel, or younger people rebel, we'll start saying, oh, they don't want to believe in God or whatever. But it's because of what they know or what they've experienced.
What they're seeing.
Yeah, what they're saying. Yeah, that's what it is.
You gave a word, Pastor, today. Let me pass one on to you. We were talking before about let there be light. There was darkness at the beginning, and then God gave illumination. He called it the day. Let's just keep going with that. Just 3 verses, okay?
Yes.
Revelation 21, verse 23, 24. And the city has no need of the sun. That's not just the New Jerusalem. That's London under your leadership. The city has no need of the sun, nor of the moon to give light to it. For the splendor and radiance of God is illuminating it, and the Lamb is its lamp. And the nations shall walk by his light, and the rulers and leaders of the earth into the glory. And then in 22, even more clear. He says like this: there shall no longer be night. No more darkness. They have no need of lamplights or sunlight, for the Lord God will illuminate them and be their light, and they shall reign as kings forever and ever throughout the eternities.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you want to tell me?
Yeah. What I learned from just the 2 days I've been with you, service to the fullest. And you give everyone opportunity to speak, which is a very good thing. And I'm very sure, like, if you give an opportunity to kids, is a platform for them to do something bigger in life. I mean, it shows they give their confidence, they give everything out of themselves, and they can always build on that. So that's necessary. I also like the area of your vision, because everything you do, you actually know how to do them and to what level you're going to do them to. And so you have a standard in everything you do, and I think that's connected to your vision. Your vision is very accurate, sir. Because something has happened in my life before, so I didn't, I think I now later knew that, okay, I had a misplaced vision. So I now got the right vision, and I started to pray on the right vision. So basically, the right vision is now becoming flesh in my life. So I like your area of light. It's really connected to vision. You have a very strong vision, sir. And I'm really intrigued by your vision. That you actually.
When you are coming here, what did you expect?
I expected that. I was just expected to get some good words from you to to get a vision as well. I mean, to get everything. Yeah, but just
you knew you were coming for a birthday party, though. Or you didn't know you were coming for a birthday party.
I knew that.
That it was a birthday party.
Yeah, I knew that it was a birthday party.
Yeah. So what were you expecting from a birthday party?
I was just expecting like a celebration, everybody just jumping around, excitement. Yeah. So, but it was the birthday party was actually excellent. It was very.
Did you get more than you?
Yeah, I got more. Everything was like celebration. You got people involved in every stage of the birthday party, which is excellent. Yeah, that's.
And what are you going back with?
I'm going back with a commitment to actually to give more service in whatever I do. That's what I'm going back with. Yeah. To give more service in whatever responsibility.
That is good, because that's vision too.
Yeah.
Because everything you've seen is for it to illuminate light, to bring some light and illumination to you, so that you will find some direction. You will hear something. You will know something. And so that you live here, not just being excited, but with understanding of some things that you were not there when you were coming. And that you will know a direction to pursue when you get back. So for me, it's important that you leave on Tuesday.
On Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we'll still meet.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
But it's important that even now, in everything you say, you ask 2 questions.
Okay.
This thing I'm just saying, what are they trying to say? Then the second thing is, what am I hearing for myself? From whatever they are trying to say, or whatever they are doing. Okay, let's say, so for some reason we have concentrated on just the last part, which is the gift something. But we had yesterday, we had the whole day today, maybe there were some other things. So why do they do what they're doing? What are they trying to say? And what am I getting? But you must, anything that you are getting, you must always relate it to your vision, your direction, your purpose, your mission. So seeing something now has direct consequence on your destiny. So you are not just watching performances or excitement or even celebration. But to be taught means to convert what you are seeing in the celebration to your destiny. To convert all action of the little girls, of the boys, of the kids, of the youth, of the older people, of pastor's relationship with people. Everything you are seeing, it's important that you don't just see or get information. Everything you are seeing must be converted to something that will benefit your destiny. How can that benefit my destiny? How can I maximize that? How can I capitalize on this? How can this action help me where I am going? So, in what area can I use this one? Because most of the people who are here, they are known figures, they are known personalities in the DSA family. But you are coming from England, right?
Yes.
And you are not known. None of the DSA family people here know you. Because you have been watching incognito on your own. But God brought you and put you in the midst of all people who are already so established. So I think God must have some serious plan for you. That you will even have the boldness to step out and say, I'm going for this event. And then you are seeing all these giants. And do you go to church at all?
Yeah, I do.
How is that working out?
Yeah.
Is it like just going, or you are totally...
Okay, I was actually going to church before, but
I like that truth. I wanted to hear. So then what happened?
Yeah, I now I go to church for myself.
So I'm sure the better church is that DSA TV you are watching. The DSA YouTube might be a better church for yourself.
I got the function from there, yeah.
The YouTube might be better church these days than those kind of churches. So you are not so active in the churches anymore. In the church.
I participate in the welcome and greeters. So that's the only thing I do.
No, what about your, nothing connected with your vision, purpose?
Not at this moment. Not at this moment.
So you just go there to...
Yeah, I just go there because I've been in fellowship for the first for 10 years. So when I learned about the kingdom, then my whole perspective of the church changed. So I go there because of my relationship with God. And so now I'm getting to walk fully in the church, growing gradually. Yeah.
But your own destiny, have you discovered your own calling?
Yeah, I've discovered my own calling. It has to do with inspiring basically, the young generation.
Did you get to read my book, Who Am I?
No.
Why am I here?
I've no idea.
Does anybody know you here?
No, nobody. I've met a couple of people.
Who has he met?
I met him.
Okay. I've met nobody from England?
Me.
People from England. Can you help him, please? Especially with that book. Do you know how it looks?
No.
The book?
No.
You don't know how it looks?
No, I've only read your book on money.
That's truthful.
There it is.
That's truthful. But there is one book that is called Who Am I? Yes. Why am I here? I would really recommend that you get that one.
Okay.
And even I have a series. You might need to help him with the playlist too. You people might need to help him with the playlist. You need to be able to know how to work with the playlist on YouTube.
Okay.
So that you go series by series. Series by series. So, wow. I think you're a lucky guy.
No, thank you, sir.
I think you're a lucky guy. So you just had faith or boldness to just buy a ticket and come.
Yeah, that's what I did, yeah.
In what sense?
I've been listening to your message. I know the impact, and I know that one way or the other, I will still get to be coming. So then I thought, okay, let me start it, by actually coming. Yeah. I registered for the last HMC, but I couldn't come because I was working. So I really wanted to come, but I couldn't make it.
But this time you just said, let me just
get
the ticket and go.
Yeah, let me just come and see.
Good for you, because many people don't even have the boldness to do that. Many people might even know they have to do that. But either they don't have enough faith, or they have all kind of reasons that Satan is using to hold them back. So the fact that you are able to do that, you must maximize it. And if you want to maximize it, believe me, you must read that book and then go through the series. That's what you need to do. Maybe you even need to join DSA Family Chat.
Yeah.
We have a DSA Family Chat on Messenger. And so in England, they even have DSA Chat on what they call
DSA Family UK.
And they have this what they call telephone WhatsApp. Yeah. But I don't even use that, but people who do that connect to that too.
Okay.
So you might want to connect with some people. And you'll be able to know what's going on. Okay, so what did you get over these 3 days?
Pastor, excuse me, I'm on the same airplane with Lottie Surunki, who already said
You
goodbye.
are leaving too?
Yeah. So I would like to respond. Because usually, Pastor doesn't have a problem with me being immediate to respond. I have to shut up, give room for others. But I want to say 2 things. Since I had first met all these drug addicts here who came, men and women of God, the question Pastor's heard me ask every HMT, and he never answered it for me, because I guess God wanted me to get it myself, was, what is causing that level of grace here? And I knew it was connected with Pastor's faith. I knew it was connected with his love, but I didn't have light until this meeting tonight. So I'd like
and he's been coming for 10 years?
Well, we've been friends for 14, and you told me about HMT for the second HMT.
Yeah, so so what happened tonight that I happen to speak about it now. See, he's been coming for so many, even in a year, so many times in a year, and he got that tonight.
So let me say what I got. There's two things that touched me the most tonight. Three things. One is your kids.
They touched me tonight.
Oh man, I couldn't, I just started crying. When Zoe was, first she was awesome when she spoke, like you said, an epistle. You turned around and you said an epistle. But then in the little meeting, the little supper thing, at the end, I was crying. She was just so precious. And of course, I love the way Pearl dares to show her love to me personally. I just love that. And anyway, that's personal. That's one thing. With you, with Pastor prophesying over you about London, that touched me so much. Because my whole life, what I care about is I care about, by the grace of God, I care to see people find their destiny. You know, even the congregation I pastor is called International Destiny Center. And it just made me so happy that you were told so clearly by such a gentle man, the guy who has the most light of anybody I know on the planet. I think I'm fortunate I know most of the so-called big guys in the world. And you got so much from God tonight, so I was happy for that. But now to what I got, personally. Oh, that one lady who came up and talked about trust. You know, I met my wife in Greece in 1981. And when I came to faith, it was just total for me. It was total transformation. But everybody thought I was too mystical, and I got judged by everybody. Everybody thought I was too spiritual. Everybody thought, can't be for real. And my wife, Ganila, who I love so much, who is no longer my wife, but who I love so much, it was so much healing that came into my life because she totally trusted me. And God actually said to her, because she said, oh God, this guy must really be of the devil or of you because he's so different from everybody else, he's so loving. So, and the Lord said, trust him. Not that she could always trust my wisdom because it's not there, but trust his motives. And with Pastor, of course, we've had that friendship, and you've been so trusting to me. And you're trusting to people, and you're loving to people. But when she said tonight about your trust, that occurred to me then, that the whole culture here is trust. It's trusting people. And therefore people relax. There's freedom. There's so much trust. So all the suspicion people have and all that stuff, it's just a matter of time before it drops off. Because as they grow in grace, they're growing in trust. And I understood then why there was this awesome grace for all these drug addicts. Because trust between people, that level of love, actually determines the level of faith that is the God kind of faith we're operating in. So for me tonight, I just got it. That you know how the Bible says, faith that works by love. Love always trusts. Love isn't harsh, which is my obvious area I have to work on. Love isn't, well, forget what love isn't. Love, trust. And Pastor, you're the most trusting guy I ever met in the world. And for years I thought you were like, almost like playing a little, not a game, but I thought for years you were just like dumbing down when you would be so surprised about stuff. But I've come to realize you really are so isolated. There's so much you just don't, you really just don't know. And I remember how surprised I was in Nigeria when we were talking about kings in their own kingdoms. And you were so surprised, or we talked about the shepherding movement in America. You were so surprised. And I just thank God for your innocence, and I thank God for your trust and your love and the union with God. And I love that this is not a magic formula, because I know more than 200 people who've seen Jesus like you've seen Jesus, but I don't know anybody else walking with God like you do, because you are doing what He wants us to do. And I just want to finish by saying, faith that works by love. There's no other place in the world with this level of love, this level of healing trust. It makes room for people to be pure. It makes room for people to be free. It makes room for people to get all kinds of revelation, feel safe. And what does that do? It puts our trust in God way up there. All these addicts who come here, and immediately people are not looking at them as an addict, they're looking at for what you're called, who are you called to be. You have a calling to be a great person. And pastor's not like doing it a pep talk. It's really real. I'm so excited in this room, Pierre sitting over there, God can change the French-speaking world through him.
Yes.
London can be transformed through you. And if London, why not all the cities in the world that London's connected with? You know, my gift to you, Pastor, is going to be connected with India, China, and Israel. Whatever other nations the Lord can help open up, I'm thankful for. But I just want to believe God for 100 million people, 100 million disciples for you in India, 100 million in China, and, you know, we don't have that many in Israel, sorry. God, thank you that faith works by love. And I want to declare out tonight, I am no longer harsh. I'm going to walk in the gentleness and the wisdom from you that I see in my friend, my pastor. God, thank you for helping every one of us in every area that we have failure in. We just invite you. We say, let there be light. And we trust you, Lord. And we thank you for the trust in this place. Amen.
Amen. Okay, tell me, who is that lady that spoke about trust? You remember?
Even
Luda as well. Different people.
Thank you, Mash.
What was she? Remind me what she said.
Она говорила, насколько я помню, что до того, как она знала вас, ей было тяжело доверять людям. Вообще в жизни она не доверяла людям. И видя вас, узнав вас, и видя ваше отношение к ней лично и к другим людям, она начала снова доверять. Она
that was in the party tonight, in the evening. Young girl, young talk.
Should I say something? When I first came here, we had a really supernatural meeting. I don't usually tell the story, but we have a cowboy friend named Chris. He's a pastor in Sweden. He was saying to me, you need to meet Sunday. And I was speaking in a family camp in Denmark for 500. The pastor was speaking in another family camp of 1,200. And I said, I want to go meet him. And Chris didn't have time to connect us, so I just asked the Holy Spirit where he was. And I knew he was going to be looking for a steak at a restaurant somewhere. So I just found the only hotel around that looked like it had a restaurant. And then there was like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5 different guys. But I just saw, this is you. So I walked up, I said, hi, son. And the first thing I asked him was, what can I pray for Ukraine? This is before the Orange Revolution. And he said, you need to pray for politics, for the government. Pray for God to help us raise up people for government. And I stumbled into ending up being involved in that somehow. If Pastor wants to share sometime, he can. I'm not going to do that. But I had a privilege to be involved, have a little fingernail in it. I'm thankful for that. And but I mean, nobody knew me in the church. I was violating all the normal church protocol you can imagine. But somehow they would just let me walk in and out of the VIP room just to go hanging out with Pastor. And, you know, nobody knew who I was. And that there was just this total openness. Now, that changed when I came for HMT. Because God wanted to discipline me. I came for discipline. I wanted it. But Pastor showed so much love and trust. And what he saw in me, he sees in every one of you, I believe, is that childlikeness in us, that hunger. And Pastor knows me. I just want to so much please God with every fiber of my being. And I love God. And it's so nice to be in an environment where we're free to be like that and we're given. Thank you for the love and freedom you've always given me. Thank you so much.
I think I'll just say a few things, maybe 2 comments and 2 questions. The past meeting has been very interesting. tonight, for me, is the high point. The presentation, the gifts in the church, I thought that was really the high point until we started talking about light tonight, which is quite interesting. And what I got from that is how you turn the word into flesh, and you broke it down into practical steps, using the illustration of love and working on yourself, imagining scenarios and dealing with them in your heart before they become reality. And then if perhaps they do become reality, you're already tooled up. You have the kit to deal with the situation. That is very helpful. I want to thank you so much for that. You know, every time I come here, sir, I get some nuggets. And, you know, sometimes I feel those nuggets are enough for me to run for 3 years. And that's why my visits to Ukraine have been a little bit spaced out.
So that you can use what you got.
Yes. The gift event tonight raised 2 comments. Maybe 2 observations and 2 questions. A lot of people got things, and a lot of history, you know. An old woman has been there from day 1, almost 24 years. I'm praying. I've come to Ukraine a few times. I've never seen her, but God knows her in the background, really praying. And you know, and I was telling one of the sisters we were sitting together, I said, heaven is going to be full of surprises. Because we look at the people who talk.
Yeah, and he's been to Ukraine several times and he's never even seen those people.
So we look at the people.
Even people who are members here, who live here, don't even know about them.
Yeah. And so, you know, so people like that, they're really a challenge for me.
In what sense?
In the sense that, number one, been there for 24 years. They've seen when there was no form of confidence. They've seen the highs and the lows. And they are still faithful. And they're still loyal. They're not looking for prominence. They're just contented in their purpose in God. She's been called to pray and to support the ministry in prayer. And she's prepared to do that behind the closet. Which, you know, fantastic. It's a lesson for many of us to learn in the West, where everybody is struggling for the microphone. You know, praise God. So that was one observation. The second observation, sorry.
That's what he's talking to you. No words.
Sorry. I mean, you got me there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, because that's my area.
Yeah, you go ahead.
The second observation will lead to my first question. And it hinges around the lady who is a photographer. During the service, I observed her. She wanted to take one photograph. I think of you, and there were things happening on the platform. She wanted to take one photograph. And I was not the only person that observed her.
And she runs.
And she ran on the steps. If it was a flat floor like this, I would say, well, yeah, you know. But she was running on the steps because she did not want to miss the moment to catch that one photograph.
In fact, when you gave her the present, I stood up for her. Because I also observed that.
Are you serious?
She was sweating. I
That's
stood
why
up and
we
clapped.
all lined up when she came up after
We
the
lined up and
we were hugging her.
cheering her.
Now, for me, that raises a personal question. And I was discussing this with Pierre after the meeting. I said, you know, I had served under a general overseer for 8-9 years. And I believe that I gave 100%. I knew how to do. I did whatever I did to the best of my ability, I thought. But I was telling you tonight, I said, look, I have seen another level of service. And I began to really, this is the way I deal with myself. I began to inflect on the old thing and reflect on it. and say, when I was serving that man of God, did I serve him to this kind of extent? I mean, she could have fallen over running on those steps. But she did not mind. She was serving a man of God. She was going to catch that photograph, and that's her ministry. That's all she's doing. But she wants to be the best photographer that she could be for the Embassy of God Church. Fantastic lesson for me, very humbling. And so that raises two questions. I said the first one is to reflect on myself and my own studies, and the second question is, what does Pastor Sunday teach these people? Because by the grace of God, I'm also involved in leadership at some small level. And I think there's a lesson for me also to pick from that. What do you teach someone to get that level of commitment from them, that level of service from them? What would you... I think I need to be gracious to those of us in the United Kingdom. I mean, an example is when you said arrange the chairs, and I found myself really on the wrong side of that review. But we learn. I have never seen anything like that. I have never seen anything like that. What do you teach them? That's the first question. And the second question is maybe linked to it, but it's a little bit lighter. When everybody was coming up to receive their present, this is my second question. Everybody was coming up to receive their present. You were spending time with them. These were not people who are strangers to you. Maybe you've spoken to them already in the past 1 week or something like that. But you took time to talk to them. And I said to my wife, when I have a private moment with them, I'm going to ask him, what was it that you were telling me? Because, you see, I think God has placed me here. If I'm going to improve, if I'm going to get better as a leader, then I think this is a divine strategic connection for me to feed from this well. And so I said, what is it? Because little things like that can make a big difference. I just want to say that thank you so much, sir. It's a learning experience. Every time I come here, something happens in Ukraine that pushes us to the next level. So those are my two questions.
We'll start with the second question. The second question is this. Mayo, I don't know what you call that series that we just finished, the 1 month series. Is it questions with...
Yeah, we started giving a topic with God has shot Golden Jubilee or DSA at 50.
What? Do
DSA
you call
at
them
50.
questions time or questions?
It based on how long the title is, but most of them have got DSA at 50. All of them. Because if the title is too long...
Do you have a playlist for it?
Yes.
What is the playlist called?
DSA at 50.
That's what it's called. Okay. Because I've been having from the past 1 month a session where they ask me questions.
Okay.
Those 2 questions have been asked. But I will tell you where. But so I have a YouTube channel. It's called Sunday Adelaja Official. And if you go to the playlist, you'll be able to see series. But let's start with the second question. What was I telling them? That will intrigue some of you. That will be interesting for you. The truth is, it is not about what I was telling them.
Amen.
Because I was telling everybody different things. And that was just being led by the Holy Spirit, just what Holy Spirit would lead me to talk about. But there is something more important than what I was telling them. Anything that I was telling them, there were 50 of them. So if I was telling them different things, since I was telling different people different things, it means if I tell you what I told her, what I told him, you'll be confused at the end of the day. But the principle behind it is what you want to know. Yes. So what is the principle behind that? Really, it's not about the talk. I was doing several things at the same time. I was touching, I was talking, sometimes I was kneeling down, sometimes I was weeping. Different things were happening, I can't remember, we have to go and look. But at the base of everything is one principle. And that principle is called, I was taking my time. Why be on that stage and why appreciating people? I was taking my time to be a servant of God and an instrument of God. To touch everybody with the touch of God's love. My own obligation, and anything I do, I'm sitting here touching people, I'm passing across God's touch of love. Asking this guy questions, joking around the laughing, I am touching him. Also, even though he's far, but I'm touching him with God's touch of love. Those things that Rodi was talking about, that I was trying to play fool, and when somebody is telling something, I would say, is that, even though I have known those things 10 years ago, but I am, through humiliating myself, humbling myself, I am touching that person with the touch of God's love. What does that mean? I have discovered that ministry is not preaching. Ministry is not teaching. Ministry is not miracles. Ministry is not wearing suits. Ministry is not carrying Bible. That's why I don't even demonstratively. If you hear me teach from the Bible, you would think you've never read the Bible before. But I demonstratively don't even open the Bible. Most of the time, if you have noticed. But when I open the Bible, and you would think, is he having a different Bible? Why is he I've never seen? So I can teach Bible. But I have discovered that there's something that goes beyond that. Ministry, how God has taught me, is the ability to touch someone with God's, to make somebody feel God's touch. Okay? I am a vessel to make them feel God's touch of love. So that is as effective as it could be. That could be as effective or even more effective than preaching, teaching, or the religious stuff we do. So it doesn't have to be religious. So you just make sure somebody feels that touch of God's love. It doesn't have to be religious at all. That's why you could be effective in Saudi Arabia. For example, in England one day, I was in Brighton preaching. And they were telling me, in that conference, everybody was complaining how white British people don't want to come to church. Okay? I was in my room, then the lady came, she wanted to clean the room. Young lady, 22-year-old, white British girl, cleaning the room. Not even, so there was another day, there was a Latin American lady, but this particular day was a British girl. And she was so official. I wanted to talk. She said, no, I'll come back later. So I needed to touch her. And make sure that she gets sick. And here I was, a single man in the room. And so she was running from me like light. And I think they've been warned and they've been coached and trained. So I needed to get with her with just touch. So you can't teach, you can't preach, you can't, but love will speak for you. So I'm ready to do it. I humble myself, I humiliate myself. If you see I don't have some rules or protocol or anything, I don't have them, because for you to be pliable in the hand of God, you cannot put him in a bottle and then say use me. You have to be first of all pliable before you could tell him to use you. Otherwise, it will break you. So what I was actually doing to anybody, everybody, it's not about what I'm saying or what I'm. It's just an attempt. Either I'm talking, or I'm touching, or I'm kneeling, or I'm just an attempt to become an instrument through which every single person will feel that touch of God's love. Sometimes it takes talking. Sometimes it doesn't take talking. Sometimes it takes preaching. Sometimes no need preaching. Sometimes it takes miracles. Sometimes not. Sometimes it takes dressing. Sometimes not. But just make sure it's not about you, but about transmitting His touch of God. What is something?
Yeah, Pastor, I was a recipient of one of those gifts tonight, and it's amazing because when I went back to my seat, you know what remained with me?
Come on.
What remained with me, I was going over in my mind what you said, and you said some things, and I remembered maybe 20 to 30% of what you said to me. But do you know what remained with me? I'm telling you the truth. You hugged me. And usually there's a point of hugging somebody when it's kind of time to let go.
Yeah.
And I noticed, I thought I'm going to let the man move on with the program. So I'm backing off. And he took my shoulder and squeezed it and held it there. And I'm telling you the truth, when I went back to my seat, that was what I remembered.
Amen.
And I thought, whoa, this wasn't a program.
Program.
I'm telling you the truth, Pastor.
Program, we don't do it.
You've been churched, my brother.
You know, those of you that have dads, you know the touch of your dad.
Come on.
You know, and you know that touch. And it was the touch of my dad.
Amen.
Because I have a dad at home, and it was the touch of a dad, and he's my dad as well. And he squeezed and held it there. And I'm giving details intentionally tonight.
Intentionally.
Yeah. And I backed up and I thought, you know, and when I walked away and sat down, I thought, this was real for him. Mm-hmm. He was really caring. He thinks I've been faithful. There's an accolade that a faithful person deserves. Not speaking of myself now, speaking of those people who took that stage, whether it's the camera person or the... Even God Himself gives levels of accolades at the end of time and when you walk into those pearly gates. And I saw in that program that these were people, Pastor, that you really love. And everything you were doing was so genuine. There was a purity in the room. And when I sat down, that touch didn't leave me. And I felt open, and I turned to Pastor Bose, and I said, this is so special. And I said, you must be so proud of these people. Like, just something real was coming out of me. And she hardly could hold back tears when she said, I'm so proud of these people. And I realized these were the people who were there from the beginning. These are the people who these are the people who've been faithful. You know, these are people who have been there since the beginning. And I thought, you know what? It's worth it to pay the price and make the word flesh. There's an accolade for the doer more than the hearer.
Oh, Jesus.
There's an accolade for the doer. And I accepted that squeeze on my shoulder. I'll remember that touch more than what was in that bag, I'll tell you the truth. So thank you.
Praise God.
I just want to appreciate you, gentlemen. Just want to say thank you. Because I was going to
asking those questions.
Yes, especially question 2. What happened is when we were sitting today, my daughter, who is 14, was sitting next to Pastor Rory. Sorry, Pastor Derek. And she asked me a question. Because she always comes to, she comes to Ukraine. And she said, Mom, why is everybody in Pastor Sunday's church always so passionate and so emotional? And she said it not she was just trying to understand why they were all like that. She said everybody. So I don't know if you heard. Did you hear Isabella? Did you hear Isabella next to her? She was asking me why everybody is so emotional, so passionate. Did you hear? And it took me by surprise. I didn't know how to answer her first quickly because you're about to speak again. She wouldn't hear me over the microphone. But to give her the answer she can understand, she's 14. And then I had too many things to tell her. So I just said, well, first, because many of them here were drug addicts and alcoholics, and they're now like this. And she was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And luckily, the next person that came up actually said she was, a drug addict. She was a crazy woman. She was this and that. So that kind of, that fitted that. But I knew that that wasn't even up to half the answer. So in my mind, even while sitting down here, I was reflecting on that and saying, okay, why are they all like this? And there are many, many reasons to give why. So I like the question when you ask them, what are you teaching them? That they're all like this. And it's not just in church settings, even in the home. There's a seriousness about things. Even when you talk to people like Pastor Alex, all of them, it's very hard, yeah. There's a...
Yeah, we need to open it more.
5 seconds.
Not now and
then.
It's okay now. It's okay.
So it's not just because they're inside the four walls of a church setting trying to maybe pretend or do a church thing. It's everywhere, inside, outside, wherever they are. They all have the same mindset, almost a militant way of not pretending. I asked Pastor Alex while we're here, I said, you guys don't joke with your time, and he's like, what are you joking around for? You have your purpose. You have to focus. That's Pastor Alex. You know how he talks. You have your purpose. You have to focus on it. So you do everything else, but you make sure it's all in line with your focus. So thanks for asking that question because I was trying to coin it in my mind to also ask him Isabella's question. So thank you.
But I still have to finish the answer. So when it comes to what I was talking to them about, I was letting every one of them know that I remembered and I bear in my heart each one of them. So I will go back to my first interaction with them or my most memorable interaction with them. I will bring that up and I will let them know how I'm feeling about their progress, where we are all coming from, where they are going, what I am doing through this jest. Sometimes I will remind them of whatever they have done for me, that they might thought I've forgotten about. But I am telling them, you see, I didn't forget anything. And sometimes I'm remembering them the most touching encounter, whatever most touching they have done or I've experienced through them. So I'm bringing that back. So everything I'm remembering and I was talking about as something that they make them to connect. Either they want to cry or they want to hug or they want to kneel down, or it is something so personal and so personal that they don't even know I could know, or they couldn't even imagine I could know, or they couldn't even imagine I could be willing to talk about. Yeah, or even be willing to talk about it.
So, sir, it's like a high point.
The depth of them, of each one of them.
It's like a high point of light, a high point of fellowship.
Yeah.
Because if we walk in the light, we have fellowship with each other. So when you've got a high point of fellowship, remind you of that.
Right.
That connection.
Amen. I wanted to ask a question, but you just answered it. Because I was wondering why you refused to use the microphone. Even when they were all asking you. Yeah. So now I got the answer. It was so personal. And you made it very personal. It was just too unique.
It has to be personal. Otherwise, it will be official. Otherwise, I'm not establishing any connection. And I've been taught by God himself that what matters is the touch of God's love. So that as love is always personal. So there's just no way I'm going to pass God's love, God's touch of love to somebody, and I will just do it as if it is just something to the congregation.
Utilitarian.
Then she's not here. Then she's not here. Just the crowd there. Then I'm not ministering with them.
I feel like a show. I think it's a show.
No, maybe it's not.
No, I mean it's
show,
like
but it's for everybody.
Yeah, for
not
everybody.
you.
Yeah.
Well, for me, what I'm taking away is.
No, I've not.
He has a second question.
The second question: what do you teach these people?
If I may add to that, not only teaching, because I can, a very good question is how do you lead these people?
Okay, so that touch of love, I have a whole teaching on it. So if you go to, I don't know what you call it in the YouTube, but maybe it's called God's touch of love or something like that.
Loving God is loving people.
Huh?
Loving God is loving people.
Okay, it could also be loving God is loving people.
No, it's how God boss my theology.
Huh?
Yeah. How God boss my theology.
Okay.
Taking note of people.
Yeah. How God bust my theology about church.
Pastoring.
No, how God boss my theology. Just that.
Just that.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's a series.
It's a series.
He's talking about a video, but you're talking about the series?
The series. It's a series.
Is that in that series? It's
in the series, yes. How God boss my theology. You can't love God without loving people. It's a bunch of messages that, and I think that was when you talked about fighting with the pulpit, you saw my reaction, and he connected, back to it, because it's exactly what he was saying now about ministry the wrong way, and it's mostly words. And I think I was talking to someone at the breakfast this morning. I'm like, how quickly are we going to be so tired of religion? Like I'm sick. Excuse me, the word. I'm sick and tired of religion. That when I felt ministry, I immediately dropped everything. There was something that made the disciples follow Jesus. It wasn't touch and follow. Like, there was something that he did to them. He connected with them that made them drop everything they were doing and followed him. And from that day onwards, that was it. And I think that's what's happening here. We all come and we just get stuck because there is a technology and it's really sharing with us. And you notice that you said people are fighting for this microphone. That's wrong. That's not ministry. Everybody's fighting for the pulpits because everybody's looking for influence and connection on the microphone. And Pastor said, no, that's not how you get to people, by getting. And then part of my testimony was the fact that if I lost my words or my voice, will I still minister to people? And then I noticed when I was listening to the series that he was preaching, for the first time, I started seeing human beings. For the first time, somebody could actually tell me their name and I would remember because I'm interested in them. He shifted my focus to the subject that Jesus said, feed my sheep, feed my sheep, the center of attraction was people. But I don't want to
and that's because of that love that I could remember every one of them. Not just their names or every one of them, but instances and incidents that connected me with them on a personal level. So because you care, so that I will remind them, I will talk to them. So there is no barrier in hugging them. It's so genuine, so real, crying. It's God. Liquid love, somebody called it. And I don't care. Anybody can teach anything they want, but God knows. I must be care. I will care more about what they think. So then, what do we teach them? First of all, I teach them what I did when I just came here. 5 seconds. Response.
reactions, responsibilities. I teach them about biomasses. I teach them about personalities. I teach them about redemption. That question was asked by by somebody. What motivates you or what moves you? And I spoke about it. Redemption, understanding of redemption. And I don't know how my wife called that particular message. When I was talking about what Jesus did, redemption, and why I did. So it's also there in those series about DSA at 50.
DSA at 50 question time, I've just checked it.
Question time. I knew that there was something about question time. DSA at 50 question time. Go through all those ones. That's a whole playlist. If it's not on a playlist, please form a playlist for it.
It's a playlist. It's got 24 videos, so we're missing 4.
Okay. So you have to put the rest. Right. Safe journey, my dear. Thank you so much for coming out.
Send it.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Join the masses.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So, what do I teach them? First of all, I teach them through my own example, by my own example. Secondly, I let them understand what God has done, what Jesus has done for them, and their response to that, what it should be. So I really want to recommend you to go and watch that. In fact, after I speak about that, normally everybody that comes, they said, we want to get born again, so that we'll be as passionate as Ukrainians are. Because they got the real gospel. Many of us didn't get the real gospel. So we cannot be as dedicated like that. But I spoke in details about the real gospel and how it creates that kind of response. So brilliant question. Yes, please. What's your own takeaway?
My own takeaway is to put everything I do, like to have an intention in everything I do. Because when I came to the celebration at the Admiral place, I saw how it was the best place.
Yes, that was Admiral for you.
What I expected, okay, come and celebrate pastor in his home, just dance around. I didn't expect a big thing. It was like a wedding. I was blown away. So it really shocked me. And when you talked to, I wanted to celebrate my people. I wanted them to have an experience. I saw that you are demonstrating actually how God appreciates us, the generosity of God.
Because I had traveled to many holiday sites all over the world. I've been to Indonesia, Bali and all those places. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to Miami. I've been to Canarian Islands. I've been to Spain. I've been to Mallorca. I've been to, just Florida. Yeah, just most places that people are dreaming of going to rest. But talking about the environment, the atmosphere, and everything, the only other place I could compare that place in Ukraine here to was maybe Hawaii. But in Hawaii, they didn't have all the. Okay, we didn't stay there. But by the time we stay, if we stay there, it's very, very well equipped, right? A big complex. So I wanted to really give a treat to. Yeah, you got that.
So that touched me as well. And also I've noticed during the service there was no preaching, but people just appreciating you, it didn't look like a real normal service, Sunday service. And God was just reminding me of your messages that honoring God and honoring people, celebrating people is actually honoring God. And I noticed that when people were bowing
sometimes religion makes us say, they tell us that just honor God. But we bypass people, please. You cannot honor God without honoring people.
And then anyone who bowed to you or kneeled down to you, we did the same?
Yes.
So that was the same principle. I was broken to the bone about that.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, when I presented my gift, when you're presenting to someone, you have to stay standing. I've never had someone kneel before.
Oh, okay.
Before me. So, that was the highest honor received in my life.
You've never had someone kneel to you before you.
Someone even of your caliber, it just broke me to the heart, And even what you did at the dinner, I saw that you were doing the same thing. So it taught me another level of honoring, worshiping God, honoring God. When people honor you, you have to return the honor back, and that's the heart of God. And then you taking the time to speak to the people who have been, helping in your ministry. It has taught me to do the same, because I have a team in Uganda, and I have to confess that I've not been appreciating them the way they deserve, and that is my lesson. So I thank God for having brought me here. I think that's what I needed to see.
I'm going to start from today, especially this morning's or this afternoon service. I must be honest with you. As much as it was a wonderful celebration, but especially today, it was the most difficult time for me, and it was the most difficult because I've been a Christian for 30 plus years, and I have never seen any example of the love of God like Dr. Sunday Adelaja. That's why he's my best mentor in the whole wide world. My best mentor in the whole wide world. But on a serious note, today I was totally broken. In fact, I was crying inside of me. I was crying to God.
That is like a paradox, right?
Yes. I was broken and I was crying to the Lord inside of me. Those who were sitting around the table didn't have a clue what was going on. You could see me, you could look at me. The only person I spoke to later was Mrs. Sharon Kerr to explain what happened. So I was totally broken, and I was crying out to the Lord and said, Lord, well, not Lord, my daddy God, saying, when can I be like, obviously like you, but like Dr. Sunday, my mentor? When will I reach to that selfless point? When will I touch people so deeply? When will I impact people so much? When will my life be so dedicated to people on behalf of Daddy God? Because we are all representatives here. They're here to represent the Father. And as we've heard from different, people's testimonies about how Dr. Sunday represents the love of God. So today, I've been here 3 times, but today was very difficult for me. So anyway, I was crying out to the Lord, and the Lord heard me, because I was sitting there, I don't know what his name was, the guy that led, sorry? Anyanya, the guy that led praise and worship.
The
African guy. I was sitting at the table, and he immediately came to me and he said, "Are you Anas?" He couldn't pronounce my name. So my name's Anas. He said, "I have a word for you." So he called me outside. Yep, he called me outside, and he said, "The Lord wants me to pray for you." And he said, "You've been crying out to the Lord, and I just want to pray with you that whatever is on your heart, that it will come to pass, and the Lord will take you to another level." And I was just totally blown away, because at that place, honestly, I was really crying out to the Lord. I just couldn't take what I was seeing. Obviously, I've been here 3 times, and I've seen how Dr. Sunday how he is with people. He loves people.
Really? I thought you were leaving tomorrow evening. That is Ed Sam from London. Thank you so much. He's the one, I was wearing his suit the last time in the hall. Did you go see the second suit I was wearing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I hold it to him. His son loving on his father, right? I didn't know Ghanaians can dress like that. We are effective in that way.
Guys, thank you.
Making me look sharp. Sharp.
We are in a bigger family here, and I'm your brother, and we are part of a great family. And Pastor is still a great father, and he supports you when you're weak. He corrects you, not rebuke you, don't condemn you, don't neglect you. It is I'm a father, and I'm always want to see the best thing that come out of my kids. And sometimes I'm always say that this is not good enough. You have to do it this way. But even this trip around, I say that listen, it's not always that they have to see the good and just bounce on it. But Pastor Sunday just always, sometimes you don't say much, but a hug, the touch, and the hold, that's all for us. And I'm never privileged to come around, just be here. And since they want to be a pastor, I've been so blessed. I mean, people like Miroslav, I met him today. I'm telling you, I mean, he's the first person who picked me from the airport 5 years ago. And he gave me some mobile phone case. And then he says that, I said, this is too colorful. I said, no, it's nice to have color. Color is good. I said, oh, great. And then, like Pastor Sunday. You know, Pastor, you've been awesome. And I love you from the bottom of my heart. And my wife and everybody, you do love me greatly. God bless you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Grateful. Safe journey to you. Thank you, sir. Take that spirit back. Take that spirit back. And spread it. And let the kingdom spread. Hallelujah. Jesus. You know the wave energy I was talking about? It penetrates through it goes through the like internet. They spread it. That energy goes. God bless you.
Safe journey.
That's so special. I love you all.
Sorry.
Yes, so like I said, it's and I'm still in that place because I'm a reflective person. So I don't just talk. And reflectively, we tend to really reflect deeply. We take in a lot of information. We really take in the details. Pastor Sanders made me understand I'm a detail-oriented person. So I see a lot of details. So that even makes it more weighty for me. I remember numerous times, countless times, asking the Father, Daddy God, that please show me somebody that carries your example. I'm not talking about somebody who's charismatic or somebody that can quote the Bible from back to front. I'm not talking about somebody that has the, is intellectual. I just want to know somebody that carries the Father, shows the example of the Father. Because I've been a Christian 13. I became a Christian either when I was 19 or 21. So, and I've served with different ministries and some big ones, and I'm not going to mention names. And trust me, I have been there, done it, got the t-shirt. So I know a lot about ministries. And in all my years of being a Christian, I've never met anybody like Dr. Sunday Adelaja. And when I'm not talking about, and yes, he's a very educated and intellectual and gifted, and There's somebody who's simplistic, like even, you know, when I came with my husband, the way it was my birthday, my 54th birthday, on the 24th. I wasn't expecting it. The way he celebrated me, my husband, I mean, if you're looking for God, with all due respect, is here. You're looking for...
Look for him and give.
Look for him and give. And so...
That's supposed to be with everybody.
Yes.
Every Christian is supposed to be manifesting God and reflecting Jesus. It shouldn't be a rare thing.
No.
What you are talking about should be the norm. That's what every human being should be talking about, any Christian. Yes. That's what should be said naturally about any human being that says he's a Christian. People don't need to look for God anymore when the Christians appear. Because we are supposed to see God in him. So God probably wants to really reintroduce that. So that we will believe that we all individually can carry God. So when you see it in Pastor Sunday or Pastor Giru or Anastasia who are actually reflecting God, then you know it's possible and you want to do the same.
So going back to the service, I said to myself, Lord, help me, number one, to look out for those who are invisible. That was the number one that was jumping at me. Help me to look out for those people who feel invisible. That I can...
Forgotten. Neglected.
And I spoke to share that with Mr. Sharon, okay? Help me to see them and to touch them with the love of God like never before. I mean, the one that I do, I think, is very elementary. And so that's what I was just talking to God about. Help me to notice people, to really, really notice people. I mean, people do say that I listen to them, but I guess to me that's nothing. To really, really notice people and to really, really be there for them. Today has been very hard. It's been, I think it's been an intense. Today, I think Daddy God, or the Father, well, I like to call him Daddy God. I think he was teaching me an intense lesson today. That, see, this is the way I want you to be. This is how it is done. So, yeah.
Amazing that you people are so impressed by that last service. But I will tell you, the one that touched me most. And I think the Laulus were there, they probably could tell too. And that is the children. For me, yeah, the children. Yeah, for me, the children, because nobody taught them what to say, obviously, they are grown-ups. And just listen to your own children. You know, you do your best, but you never know if your best is enough. I know their quality, their potential, but their life aspiration would be like, I think, you know, that today they were actually talking about not what I taught them most, but more of what their own conclusions, their own observations. You know, it's not about what you actually say to kids. It's your life. So for them now to come out and kind of affirm that, I mean, these are people living with you every day. All their lives. Not one day absent. So that really blessed me. Each one of them, Perez was very short but very concrete. Zoe, Paul. In fact, I want to. Okay, don't wake up. I don't wake up. Yeah, just I want you people to do a special cut of the congratulations from the family, especially from the children. And thank God you are speaking English, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah. So let's do that. Let's do a special something on the YouTube channel. I want to have a copy. So once it's done, send it to me too. You know. So I don't know if anybody felt the same. Oh, it's because I'm a father.
My wife watched the live broadcast, and that was what even caught her attention most. And she was telling me that she can't wait to meet them, and also to see us receive this same kind of grace to raise our children. That's what she said. And then, I don't know, are you true?
About the children, eh?
Yes, about the children.
I think I recorded some part of it as well, because I climbed to the gallery to get a proper view, and especially your son, when he was talking, I was shedding tears to see him talk about his dad like that. The words, the wisdom in it, the presentation, the boldness, everything was spot on. And
no, you are very specific. You are very good. Did you say those things intentionally? Say them again. The word,
the word, the wisdom, the boldness.
Now you have to substantiate each one of them. The words.
The words. It was like a child. It was like a child who has mastered his dad, and he is so joyful to see himself being translated into his dad.
Well said.
He is looking at himself that one day I dream even being better than my dad. That even if I lose, in fact, when you talked about you telling them that it's possible that you could die and your wife could die, I already saw a leader in him already. When he was talking, I'm like, even if he's not here, this boy can do more.
You could tell that. You could see that.
Yeah, I could see that.
And that's the word.
Yeah.
Then you said, oh, that wisdom.
The wisdom is I don't know where he picked his words from.
That's right.
Yes. I don't know how he did it.
Yes.
Because I know I find it difficult, especially when there is crowd, when there is a lot of people, to put it together.
He said he was busy and he would not change it for anything. He said he was busy and he would not actually change it.
I was standing there. I'm like, get the confidence. How did he build it? It was like somebody reading through a script. He was calm. Even when he says he wait for the translator and he was so patient, making sure that they get everything right. I was asking myself, how old is he? How old is he? I was thinking his age again. I'm lost. Because I know I find it difficult in myself to put things like that together and to know when to say which word, when to bring it in, and when to move away. The boldness. The boldness, there was no panicking, there was no looking, he wasn't searching for the words, it was like he's just looking at a screen and he was just reading his heart out. And it blew me off. I was standing there, I'm like, whoa, I couldn't believe it. And I don't know why something made me to read the book of 2 Peter 1 from verse 5, and then he says, and beside this, giving all diligence, add to your faith virtues, to virtues knowledge, to knowledge temperance, to temperance patience, to patience godliness, to godliness brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness charity. This is what I saw in everybody. All the people, the emotions, the love, it's like how he managed to put it in them. like he asked, that's the best question. You see that when you asked that question, I was sitting here. I said, thank God. Because I said to myself that I'm going to submit myself to learn what these people learned. What made them be like this?
That's why I'm here.
What made them be like this? How are they like this? Even when I was sitting in that gallery, there is this a black guy. I thought he was Nigerian, but when they were serving the food and when the guy spoke, I realized he was a French guy. But when the girl served us the food, she can see that this guy is hungry. She went down, brought another plate for him again, and kissed the guy. I was sitting there, I'm like,
A touch of God's love. Is it not from Pastor Sunday now?
It's not from everything they are doing.
And the woman, the girl, the woman that ran the photographer, love.
It gave me goosebumps. I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like,
no, but you are talking about the children. I'm not going to allow you to jump.
Yeah.
You finish with the children. You have time.
So about your son, for me, I think you've poured out more than yourself in him. In fact, even if you are no more, you've just recreated yourself. More than yourself. I see him doing more because when he's not carried away by anything, he's just himself. Calm. When it's time to wave at you, he waves at you. When it's time to focus, he's focused. I'm just praying. I say, God, give me the grace to replicate the same thing with my children.
Pastor Great actually said similar things about him. Because they are in the same university. Pastor Great is in the same university. So, and they're taking some classes together. So, Pastor Great said he has never seen a child like that in all his life. And Pastor Great was raised in some prominent churches in Nigeria. Knew the family of some children, and he said, he said he's actually more disciplined than himself and anybody in that university. He said he's the best behaving person he sees in that university. So he said, because I told him to help us monitor him and be the oversight. He said he doesn't need any money. He said I need to monitor himself. Yeah, anybody wants to talk about the children?
Not about the children.
Let's not finish about the children. It's finished, right? Okay, then.
Jesus, talking about John, said, "What did you go out to see?" So I asked myself, what did I really come here to see? Obviously, before I came, my wife had spoken about you, but then I remember last week, I do some work for Pastor Great, so he just spent about 3 minutes telling me about you, but then the way he approached it was, don't worry, when you get there, you'll find out yourself,
I will not waste time.
So yesterday at the party, when he came, he saw me, he said, have you now understood what I was telling you? And I said, Pastor Great, you know what? I've been here for about 48 hours. But then the whole Bible has been opened up to me. I'm telling you that.
In 48 hours?
That the whole Bible had been opened up to me. So I was telling you that, look, it was as though everything was going on, but at the same time, God was just opening up the Bible to me, and I could see the life of Abraham, Moses, Daniel, Elijah, and I realized these people were actually real people. They were not superhuman. I realized they were all, real people. And I told myself, I wasn't there with them, but I'm here with someone who is just like them, And for me, the greatest thing I took or have taken so far is what God can do through a person who yields himself completely. That, and as my wife said, I said, God, how can I get there? That was all I was thinking about, what God can really, and why I said it threw more lights about them was, these were people who yielded themselves. 3 Hebrew boys. Those if we perish, we perish. Now let's be honest with ourselves. How many of us can really, we can really say that, but when a push comes to crunch, can we really go through the fire? Or we'll say, look, you need to apply wisdom. But then, it's been a great lesson, for me. But then I ask myself, how can one really get there? But then I tell myself, it just starts with a step. It's a continuous, it's just a matter of being sold out, But then I was really, studying that, honestly, I don't know. And, as you said, even when you're sure, you don't really use the Bible, because your life itself is the Bible, And for the evenings,
that's well said.
It just reminds me of, Jesus with his disciples, gathered around him. And I realized this is exactly what you're doing. Now, to go to another aspect, which you just shared, that people should see God in us. Which is maybe it's more of a question. In that, people who know me, one will tell you, I never get angry. People ask me, do you ever get upset, etc. I have the tendency to show that love, but often or not, it's misunderstood and gets me into trouble. Okay, so it actually got to a stage whereby I said I was going to stop because I've had enough troubles, trying to be lovely. So I made up my mind, go to church, close, and go home. When you don't look for trouble, trouble does not look for you. It's been difficult because it's not been my nature, but I have done a good job with it. No, seriously. Okay, I'll give you an example. We're just sitting like this, where, maybe I was wrong, I don't know. Maybe it was a cultural difference. But then a lady served me, okay, and I made a comment that, you really make a good wife in future. It's unfortunate I'm married. If I wasn't married, I would have married you. In my mind, I was complimenting her. She actually reported me to the pastor. Wow. I was making a pass at her.
Wow. In England?
Yeah. So I was telling the pastor that, I don't know, maybe it's a cultural difference.
Yeah, it's a cultural difference.
But in Ghana, it's a compliment. I don't know what happens in Nigeria. So, there have been other examples, so it's sort of realize since I'm more in a predominantly Nigerian church, I have to toe the line then. Do as, they do, but then...
And then you don't want accusations.
Exactly.
And false allegations.
But, I'd just like to say a big thank you to you, more so because I'm more in the teaching ministry. Okay, but then I realized my life could actually speak more than all the Greek and the Hebrew. That's another aspect I've learned, that my life could actually speak more about the epistles and the scriptures more than so there'll have to be a shift from the Hebrew and the Greek to more of working on myself, so my life would show more of Christ. And this evening I got a message from, what's his name? I got your message from, what's his name? This one who picked this up. What's his name?
Alex?
No.
Alexa,
From Ego. And I'd like to say a very thank you. Big thank you. That came out of the blues. Amen.
Thank you, sir. Okay, it's already 3:30.
Okay, you want to say what I know?
Yes, please.
Thank you. I mean, let me just say, apart from all what everybody have said, I like to mention additional things, that I'm taking away, and discussing with people, meeting people around. Number one of the things I propose myself that I really want to take away is about the way Pastor Sunday has been talking about systems. So I really mentioned, if you look at one of the purposes I said I want to learn before I go in my few days, is to really study all these systems and see how he built the systems.
Where do you live?
I'm living on Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? Yeah, I'm living on Tuesday. Yeah. But I've been interviewing a lot of people. Okay. So when I got, and since Friday, I've been looking at so many things. I went to, the room you do your lecture. Right. There's what is called leadership in the war. When I saw those pictures, I took those pictures because that really shows, what the leadership I've come to see. You can see the great leaders in that picture. So I said that it's the only person that is great that can ascribe to great leaders like that. So that's lesson number one. I saw today in the church excellence. A lot of excellence. I went to the bathroom, the men's room, that's it. Extraordinary excellence. And I said, wow, this is a church in Ukraine with this sort of excellence, even in their restroom. And that shows people coming. So I'm picking, excellence, in that in everything you do, apart from even touching.
Even in the toilet.
Yeah. You have excellence even at that level. I mean, if you have excellence in the level of your bathroom, that shows every other thing you do has what? Has that excellence. Now, the appreciation was superb. Extraordinarily superb. I mean, I'm a pastor myself, and I learned a lot about that appreciation. The need to appreciate people that works with you. As I was doing all those, I was busy writing. Not only writing, I was taking pictures. Trying to see how you want to build ministry with all this. Now came to my system. Luckily, I sat with somebody, I won't tell you the name, and I was asking a lot of questions, about how did all this came about. When he was doing so many things, I was asking the question. So I asked the question about system. I asked the question about the rehabilitation center. To the point that, by the grace of God, I'm actually planning to visit one today. I said, I want to plan a visit.
Excellent.
Yeah, to this center. He said, I said, look, never mind, I will do whatever I can do to visit, because he told me about how the systems of the rehabilitation center works. Yes. He gave me A, B, C of this system, and I said, look, I'm going to discuss with Pastor Sunday that this thing, the world need it. I'm from LA area. One of the problems we have in most of the cities in the US is homelessness. Yes. A lot of homelessness. And I said, if the rehabilitation center is working here, like this, there's no reason why it cannot work where we are. So that's, so it's, I won't say I'm loaded, but at least I'm tonight, sir. What Pastor Tonge taught us tonight about light, I can tell you it worth millions of dollars. if you can convert this lesson that we learned today and convert it into business, you can see the heaviness in it. You know, it's a lot of heavy study. I use that word, heavy study. I want to say thank you, sir. This is, you know, what I mentioned today, I said the best is yet to come. There's still a lot to be learned, and we really appreciate you. I mean, just a little tips of, you know, you know, what I'm gathering within my short days that I'm staying. Thank you very much, sir.
Now, I understand that a lot of people are leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow morning. Today, actually. So, and I want to begin to receive people. So, anybody leaving tomorrow here? In the morning? Today morning.
In the evening.
In the evening. Okay, evening, yeah. Wow. But I know the Shinwe. Is it Shinwe? The Shinwes and others are leaving in the afternoon too. So, well, anybody that will be leaving tomorrow, I think if you know them or you stay with them, they'll tell us again. Tell them that from 10 o'clock, 10, 11 o'clock, they should be here. So I'll be able to meet with as many people as possible. I will try my best. So you remember those people I told you about? So let's get ready. And so go get some well-deserved rest. Can you imagine we'll be up like from 12 in the day? No, actually before then, in the morning. Since when? At least we'll be yeah, let's say from 12 in the afternoon. It's now like over 12 hours, right? How many? 16 hours, yeah. That's our normal regime, yeah. So I'm ready to go. I'm ready to keep on going, but I just have to consider the people we need to meet tomorrow morning. Today. But you know, people are making mistakes. When you come to Ukraine, whenever you go back the next day, it's not a good move. You have to plan it.
I have 2 kids at home.
But you've tried. That's much better than not coming at all.
Yeah, so we have to come. My husband was working, so there was no way we could.
But the 2 of you came?
Yeah, so we left. I have a 2-year-old and a 7, so and.
How come you were able to make it?
We had to.
2-year-old?
Yes. I have a 2-year-old and.
And you travel without him?
Yeah.
You have some secret services there. How come you have a 2-year-old and you are looking as if you have never given birth before?
I have a 7-year-old too.
7-year-old too?
Yeah.
You'll be sad and wonder. Not you sang today.
Yes, sir.
Eh?
She's a worshiper, so.
Okay. You know I am?
Oh, wait.
They're in the same system?
Yes.
I don't think this one is in that system. He looks too dangerous to be in any system. Yes?
He's not really in the system.
They talk now.
Sir, he introduced DSA to my wife.
Wow. That's how your revolution started. Amazing. So you'll be appointed for.
Yeah.
We will know ourselves.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Thank you so much, sir.
Wow. I'm hoping that this is not your last visit.
No, sir, no.
No?
No.
2 of you said no at the same time. What do you think is called the sacrifice? wanted to be able to arrange it.
Yes, sir.
You are not satisfied? Okay.
That's the beginning, sir.
That's allowed.
That's the beginning. Because coming today is a wonderful thing, best thing in my life. I've worked with, I'll call him Pastor Sunday. I've never been this close to a pastor. I don't like it. I don't like being close to them.
I don't like my wife saying that she didn't even want to marry a pastor.
I don't like being, I've never been in a gathering seated like this with a pastor, just because this is who I am. And I don't know, and you won't see a pastor. The first thing that caught my attention when I came here was immediately we entered, I told my husband, I said, this place is, they're free to do anything. There's freedom. And there's orderliness, but there is freedom. And immediately we saw that, and you came. The first thing you did was, while you were coming on the red carpet, you hugged me. I've never come to Ukraine. This is my first time. You hugged me, and when we were going back to our seat, you came from the altar there, and you came down. You met the two of us. No pastor will ever do that. Come from the stage and come and see you and say, "Oh, I know you." I've never seen that kind of a thing, and it really humbled me so much. And when I came up stage to sing, that was the best day of my life. I've been singing in church since, 5 years, but I was able to express myself. Why? Because there is freedom. How will you know?
You came like a bold light.
Because I was looking forward to it. I was really, really looking forward to it. And when I got the opportunity, I grabbed it. It was 2 lines, but those 2 lines were the best thing that ever happened to me. I've been singing in church. I had time, I was telling her that, see, we had time slot, 8 minutes for praise and worship. It was like, you have to do it. You have to do it. 8 minutes, yeah. 8 minutes.
Yes,
we do it, sir. It's 8 minutes.
It's not possible.
Yes, so we have to do.
No, it's not possible.
No, it's true.
No, it's true.
Who has ever had that before? Have you ever had that before? No, it's not possible.
So let me explain to you. 2 minutes for worship. The other minutes, the rest of the minutes for praise.
It's true, sir. It's so true, sir.
So by the time you are saying, by the time, so by the time you are even worshiping God,
it cannot be more than 15 minutes.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, and all that is within me. Bless His holy name. You are looking at the time. You have done great things. He has done great things. So you have to look at the time. So by 2 minutes, you have. I was a leader for 4 years, so I know the time slot. So 2 minutes, that's it. The rest minutes, after 2 minutes, we are telling the praise and worship leader, says 2 minutes have passed from the altar. So you have to go to, that's for worship. 2 minutes for worship. So the rest minutes is for praise. So enjoying yourself in the presence of God has been, was never, for me, it's never been there. Why? Because there was no much time to worship God. I'm a worshiper. I love worship. I can cry in worship. I can do anything. That was why the two minutes that I don't know whether less than 2 minutes that I had to sing that worship today was the best thing that ever happened to me. So I look forward to more of it. I look forward to more of worship. I can do anything in worship. I can, lie down, do anything in worship. But looking at the time, it's not for me. Worship is like, oh, there is rigidity or something in there. So because of it, we're just doing what we're supposed to do, and that's it. So what happened to me today, sir, was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I love it. I look forward to more of it.
Like it in members of because that could go on for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. Just follow the Holy Ghost.
That's it.
So I think I can testify to that. I've actually been quiet, just trying to absorb, and I feel, I feel constipation a bit. Information constipation. So much to just get, you know, and during the service, I was telling, I think it was you, I said, I can literally, it feels like heaven here.
Yes.
And he said, oh,
Yeah.
no, it's the kingdom. It's the,
Yes, that's the kingdom.
And I was like, wow. You know, so sorry, Pastor, I would have to say this with all due respect. You are not a normal person. I'm sure you agree with me. You're not. Who does that? I mean, who does what you do? Nobody. Nobody. You know, and this is my conclusion. I don't want to preach Jesus again. I want to be Jesus. That's who he is. And I think that's why people don't get it. We just throw Jesus in their face. I don't think we have to keep preaching Jesus. We should be Jesus. And that's what Pastor has been saying. God wants to see himself in us. That's what Pastor is doing with his people. Everybody is a reflection of, I mean, when we got to the airport, we used a green passport anyway from Poland. So, you know, we were, the guy called, the immigration officer called the other guy and said, okay, some Nigerians, I could pick a few of the Ukraine language because it's similar to, you know, Polish. So they took us to a different room, myself and my wife and, you know, the little girl. And they delayed us for a couple of minutes and checked, you know, permanent resident cards and everything was okay. And then we were, so the reception wasn't so nice. But the moment we saw Alex, I mean, he was radiating. He was like, welcome, you know, he hugged us, and I was like, you know, I switched. I switched from that you know, harsh reception to the, you know, embassy spirit. You know, and from the moment Pastor Bernard joined us till we got here, we saw Igor, Babusha. I mean, it was it was different, you know. And again, my impression changed. I had felt that Ukrainians are not nice, but I mean, seeing the people in church, seeing everybody around, you know, I have to switch again. I know these are nice people, you know. So, Pastor, you are setting a pace. You are blazing a trail. You are breaking boundaries, crossing the lines. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And sir, I don't know about everybody here, but I want to renew my commitment again. You know, to service. That's just what you do. You serve people. You serve people. I mean, you are some of the, like everybody has said today, most of the leaders out there, they don't do that. They just want to use people. Slavery. They are slave masters. Yes. I mean, I can make a confession. I can relate with almost everybody passing through. I mean, I resigned in January from pastoring, probably to be the same church. I can imagine. A pastor knows about that. I resigned just January from pastoring because I was boxed. It was like I was a slave. Yes. I was a slave. I was being pulled like, you know, when you have a chain on a dog. Yeah. I mean, it was a struggle. It was a struggle. Several times we cried at night with my wife, you know. But I got the courage finally. And, you know, and that's what I've, again, noticed about Pastor. Pastor is so observant, and he I don't know, he's just, when he saw me, he said, oh, you're from Poland, you made the right choice, you made the right decision. Thank God, you made the right decision. And Pastor didn't tell me to resign. I sent him an email, I said, Pastor, you know what, I'm confused, I don't know what to do. I mean, this is God's work, I don't want to let go of it. Yeah. We had the church in the cinema doing well, you know, and all that, but then we had a whole lot of other things going on around, you know. So Pastor just advised, well, you know what God is leading you to do, you know your purpose, you have a vision, you know, just go for it. But then I knew it was time to let go of, you know, of religion and title and the position. You know.
And just be Jesus.
And just be Jesus. And just be Jesus. Yeah, I don't need to have a church to be Jesus. I mean, Jesus never said go start a church. He said go and make disciples.
And he never started anyone when he was here.
So do you know how many of your followers are that is in my choir? Wow. You know, when we're doing rehearsals, somebody is putting during maybe somebody is putting earphone and you're doing like this. Are you listening to a pastor? Are you listening to a pastor? Just because of the impact, you know. Many people don't know, but you know, at times I'll caution them, say they are the choir, just respect them. Yeah, but you know, someone was saying, buy the book where you're coming.
I was seeing it here.
somebody was saying, don't come back without the book.
Don't come back without the book. So buy the book. So, you know, that is how committed people are. You know, like I was saying, the worship 8 minutes it has so much. I mean, we're so much used to it that if you tell us to do 30 minutes. It now becomes it's a struggle because 30 minutes now 30 minutes now you now be thinking, oh, what song am I going to sing again? It now becomes repetition. You now go back to the song that you sang before and all that. So if you are not really a worshiper in your house or a praise person in your house, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble. So people have to go and, you know, for yourself, you have to really, really work on yourself. I've always been an impromptu person, you know. When they said now as a choir lead praise and you're not expecting it, nobody will go. I'll run up the stage and people are like, oh, okay, I don't know what I'm going to sing, but I'll just get there and take the mic and sing. You know, I've always been, I like to, because I don't want somebody to now box me and say, oh, because I know where I'm going. If I go outside now and now sing one song and I'll be tired, I don't know what else to do. But that is how it has been all our lives and, you know, for the past few years that I've been there. But immediately I saw this, I said, no. My husband, he only goes for 4 service. So, you know, people like, he's always dedicated and is always talking about it. It gets to a stage, somebody sent me a message and said, oh, you need to tell your husband to relax or let him relax because, you know, when he talks, especially when he sends messages, people are wondering what is he talking about. They don't understand his language anymore because they're wondering what exactly is he talking about. Why are you talking this way? Why are you saying this? But because he has seen the light, we've seen it in a different way, and we've seen things that people are not seeing. I go to church now, not because initially I want to go there and you're trying to receive something and you're not even receiving it. But by the time I sit down, I'm already receiving words from God and I'm typing it. I know what to do at every point in time. And the next thing I'm supposed to do. Why? Because I've listened, I've watched you, I've listened to other people say. There was a time that you did one HMT and a lady was talking about, she was asking a question about, she's this kind of person that talks to people. I immediately caught that because I love talking to people. I love encouraging people. It caught my attention, and the response you gave to that lady was as if I was exactly the person you were talking to. And immediately I got it. And there was a lady in my, on my street that's been an alcoholic. I don't know how many years. We started with her, and she's all of a sudden she started changing. Before you know it, she stopped. She went back again, but she finally stopped by the grace of God. I was so happy, and
no church.
That has really helped me. That has really, really, really helped me. That's why I said we have come to stay. I mean, we're not going anywhere. Like she said, we're not going anywhere. I walked with him. I walked with him several years. I know who he is. I know the grace he carries. I know what is upon his life. And when you told him that, the next thing I told him was, I'm following you. Whatever you have to do, we are going to do it together. Because we are going to take you.
So you think that prophecy should be from God? Right?
Yes, exactly. I told him, I know that it is from God. Because what you told him, it is from God. I told him straight, I know you. I've already started calling him pastor before anything. So when you said it, I said, that is it. That is it. Wherever you go, we're going to take Europe. We are going to take UK. We are going to storm that place. And people's lives are going to be changed. Not because of the normal things they do.
What I wanted to actually add was, I didn't know he was listening to you. Everybody's hiding. Some people were just like I watched what you said when you went to the park, and you said you were a secret listener. So when I watched it, I'm like, okay, boy. When I heard him teaching on Facebook, I'm like, he has this in him. And all the while, he has never been one of our teachers in all the training we did.
In the church.
Yeah. I couldn't believe. When he was advertising the program, I said, I immediately tapped him. I said, book it immediately. I'm going.
After listening to it one time.
Just one time. I said, book it, I'm going to his program, I'm going. Even when I got there that day, I was looking for the place for more than 30, I told you, for more than 30 minutes, I couldn't find the place. But I said I must find it. And we searched and searched until we found the place.
So you are wondering, why is it that they will not teach those things?
Yeah. Where was he since? Why
is it not?
I said, look at what is hidden. I couldn't believe it.
Because answer the question, how can you be a staff of the church?
It's not qualified to do that. They are scheduled. It's only in that establishment or institution. In that establishment, there are certain people who are qualified to do the teachings. You just know. It's not qualified.
You need to respect yourself.
Can you imagine?
There are certain people who are assigned to do it.
When I heard it.
It's never. It wouldn't be qualified. Never there. Never there. No. It's not. And because it's not a pastor. Well, there are some deacons who do certain things, but.
My wife and I, in our previous church, we were ordained as pastors the 2nd of May 2002.
Over 15 years now.
When we came to the church, we told them.
And they said no.
You're not ordained in this church, so. It's not recognized.
You are not recognized. Your gift and anointing is not recognized. But why do you even need recognition? Why do you even need the ordination?
This is part of what how we've been trained. That you can't serve, do that. You can't serve in that office of your
But you know, I'm up to now, I still don't have any ordination. Up to today. So what will you say about that?
Even some people that your life has ministered.
So I've not started.
No, sir. I'm just using this as some people in the church, maybe in one way or another, your life has ministered to them. And some people will say, Pastor Sunday. Somebody, you say, how are you? Somebody else will call you and say, you're not a pastor.
Yeah.
Why are they calling you pastor?
Wow.
Don't let people see you as a pastor because you're not a pastor here.
That's interesting.
Not even answer question because I know in the three sections of that class is that he's the one that actually organizes everything.
Yeah.
But and you will see that he makes sure that everything is going. At the point, I was wondering, what time does he come here and what time does he go?
Oh yeah.
Because
and that kind of man cannot preach.
No.
So you cannot preach like that.
No, he can't.
During the graduation, he has to, organize the graduation numbers and everything.
You can only go there and sit down. With everything you know.
But don't teach.
On my own platform, I can do anything I want. On my own platform.
So they reduce you just to...
In this institution, I was going to tell you, but we would not mention the name.
What about if you know better than the pastor?
It's
the elements of rebellion.
And they'll hand you over to the devil.
Sister Adela, what are you saying?
Yes, I was just going to say that I wouldn't mention the names, but in this our establishment, that you can't write a book. If you want to write a book, even as a pastor, you have to submit it to the headquarters.
Yeah.
Don't.
I think I know them.
Well, will you not this book? No longer take the subject.
It's really
you know the book I got in the club.
Yeah.
You understand?
You cannot write the book in your own church. Just because you go to church.
Your own knowledge, it's not yours. It's your knowledge. They own your knowledge. And you can't put... it's correct, yeah.
Let them begin to pray against you now.
Yeah.
Let them begin to do sacrifices right now.
You think they've not started? They've started a long time ago. I'm not...
Let them begin to carry sacrifices right now that I will never get to Nigeria.
No, you will.
Let them begin to, I said, make them intensify. Let them intensify their idolatry, whatever, sacrifices and their curses and their whatever, their witchcraft. Let them intensify everything, because system go collapse.
It's already collapsed.
Things will scatter.
will unleash creativity that's been buried up in many.
Can you imagine if those resources are unleashed for the kingdom?
Since I started,
how much resources of the kingdom that are being hoarded? And you think God is happy? Make the fight with them. You see on whose God, on whose side God will be.
It's just one.
And here.
You know the Thursday programs that I do, Become a Better Man.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
People have called me to say, where did that come from? I mean, Emeka was, he came to the seminar we did 2 Saturdays ago. And it has been an interesting journey. But for me, it is when you hear men like Emeka and other people now pull you aside and say, I just want to say thank you for the message yesterday. I want to say thank you for the topic we spoke about yesterday. I came across the one you did on, could be, because what I do is every month we have a topic and then we break it down into different titles. We did one on health, we did one on finance, we did one on personal development, external development, and all of that. And it's amazing how people will pull you aside and say, I needed to hear that. But more than that is the women saying, I've registered my husband to watch your program. 40% of the audience that tune in every Thursday at 8 p.m. to watch Become a Better Man are women. To the point
you
that
are having all this knowledge and going to the same church and you couldn't talk. I'm sure there might be other men, other even men, women in those churches. So it won't just be you.
Sister Labake here started a prayer session every morning for mothers to pray for their children. Within a short space of time, testimony. People were calling to say, for the first time I realized I could actually pray for my own child in a specific, particular way and then see the result.
What about in churches? What do I do?
I don't want to mention online. It's really horrible. Until afterwards, yeah.
Now, wow. It is. Well, deliverance is coming.
Amen.
It is come. It has come.
Deliverance has come now.
Amen.
Wow. But it is to you now, deliverance has come. I'm thinking about the millions.
Yes.
Yeah, that is where all of us.
Yes, we have to act.
Yeah.
We have
responsibility. Yes.
We have a debt to pay. Because if we say responsibilities, people can make excuses. Yes. But when it's a debt that you owe, you must find a way of paying it. This light that we have seen, this knowledge that we have acquired, this wisdom that we have had,
everybody should start a platform. Everybody should start a platform. Everybody should be having at least, if not a daily program, at least weekly program. Everybody must be saying something about something. We must be setting people free left, right, and center.
So I had a program. I had a program last year. I felt led to, have a program with people that are trusting, want to have children and all that. So I know there are a couple of people around me. So I just did a WhatsApp group, and people started coming and all that. So we did what I did was just to know, because I had experienced my son, and then with the doctor, they told me that my son had a Down syndrome. It was still in the womb, so I knew that was not for me. So I had scriptures that talked about divine health and all that. So I prayed that prayer, and to the glory of God, it was, everything was all right. So with that, I was led to have that, and also for people that are believing God for the fruit of the womb. So we had that one month program on WhatsApp. I gave them scriptures on what to do, and just to be joyful, and it's not the end of the world and all that. The next month, a lady got pregnant. She had twins. Another one, several like that. Then another one that we worked together for a long time. At that moment she didn't have it, so she was still. I kept on, asking them how far and all that. So last year, I think it was the middle of last year, she just spoke to me and she said, "Oh, are you still praying for me?" I said, "I will never stop praying for you until you have that." And before I knew it, she already got pregnant. She gave birth at the beginning of this year. That encouraged me to go on. It encouraged me to go on, because I see the agony and the, in their hearts, because, we don't know what they are going through in their family and what their in-laws are telling them. But because of that alone, the mere fact that they prayed that prayer and they see the scriptures, they see themselves in the light of the scriptures, that alone encouraged me to go on and to really help other people. And with watching your program, it has really, really, really helped me to focus on what I'm supposed to. I'm not backing out. To focus on what I'm supposed to do. So it has really, really helped me a lot. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Well, you have started on Labake, right?
Yes.
But we will need everybody on DSA TV and everybody present here to have their own area of passion, just like you from your own area of passion like this. And you are now bringing liberty to other people. But also another thing I would like to tell you is that you should find a way of popularizing that particular platform. For example, is it your platform? You took some photographs, or your husband took some photographs today?
Okay, I took.
Okay, you put them on your Facebook. Your husband.
I think it was.
Yeah. So, but I tried to copy it, for example.
Oh, okay.
It's not. I can't copy it because there are some buttons there. You might need to learn to fix so that other people also will be able to copy. But that's not just the only thing. All of us need to look for strategies and ways to make sure that everybody. I teach my people here that anything that is worth doing at all is worth doing well. So if you want to do anything at all, it must be 100% commitment. I always use the example of the egg, boiling egg. So you must commit 100%, and because if the water is not hot, if you say it's hot, because when I was growing, I used to think that 40 degrees is hot or 60 is hot, but if it was 40 or 60, they will not cook an egg. Okay, that egg could be there for 3 days. It will be swelling down the end of the day, but it will not cook. It has to be 100. But when it's 100 degrees, 5 minutes, the thing is cooked. So if your commitment is not absolute, totally absolute, so you have to be total. What do I mean by absolute? For example, compare concerning your own topic, right? It means there is no human being that is having that problem in your city that shouldn't be aware that you have that group. Talk less of church. That's the same thing with business. You know, some people are in business for 10 years. I mean, people are in England, America for 10, 20, 15 years. They have not even made $1 million. I mean, it's an insult. It's even an insult on me. I don't even want to talk that they are Christians because it's even an insult on God. It's a disgrace. It's better to just keep quiet than you're a Christian. Yeah, because people, you know, it's not working for them. So they don't want no principles. They've not been taught. So there is no way you can work as a business person for 2 years and not be a millionaire. Then you are not working on understanding at all. So that's what I'm saying. This is just a simple understanding that will apply in business as well. If you are going to job, just Uncle Sam, of course. But if you are doing something as your own vision or your business, there is no human being. That's what I tell my pastor. If you are a pastor of mine from Embassy of God and you are in one place for 2 years and the whole city doesn't know that you are there, you are a disgrace. Either you have not been taught by me or you didn't learn. So if you are doing that thing, the same effort it will take you to do it for 10 people is the same effort it will take you to do for 1,000. If you just let the 1,000 other people who are in need of it know that you are here for them. And for that to happen, you've got to be absolutely radical in proclaiming, and really knocking. Jesus said, don't just ask, search, knock. Search for people who need you. Search for people who need what you have. Search for people who must listen to you. You go ahead and search for them. They might not even know that they need you. And they might not even know that you are there. Yeah. So search.
So just to comment on the one or two things you said, that it's an insult.
Yes.
I think that's been connected to conversion. What came to my mind was also the word process. I don't know if it's...
Process is what a miracle. I have a whole series on that on my YouTube page.
And what I began to realize is that God gave us brains to be able to process things.
Yes.
We never eat our food raw. We don't take grass and eat it. Only animals do that.
Yeah.
So whoever doesn't process, then I think is living on an animalistic level. And that's an insult to God. So I think for me, what I'm taking away from here again is to go back, not even to, I've been doing some things already, but then to go back and begin to process again, buy more of your books and, read them, do a review on them, and then begin to learn more.
And then especially the series. Sometimes, I tell you, those series, they might even give you more. If you have time to listen, just bury yourself in them. Those series on YouTube, they will just, but the books too are very thorough. So, get it as many as you can. Yeah. But all of us need to begin to talk, not just to our own areas of calling, but to the situation in the body of Christ. And to, all these people who are in bondage, who are actually our brothers and sisters, who will be thinking that we are the ones in the wrong. But by the time we bring the truth to them, they will recognize the truth. The spirit of truth will teach them. But faith coming by hearing. So they will need to hear it. Our own side is to make them hear. And let God do everything else, that is for them. And if they will listen, okay. If they will not listen, it's their own choice now. But we must start by everybody having his own platform. Either if you cannot talk, write. If you cannot write, just take pages or some photos of books, of passages, and then people be posting them. Do something to open the eyes of somebody. Yeah. It's 4 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
What was this?
I think this is our last collective. This is our last meeting.
For the people who are going tomorrow, because tomorrow night we are going to meet again. But if you are going, then it's your last meeting. But if you are not going, we are meeting tonight. just want to express our thanks to everybody, Babushia, Mayowa, and Pastor Igor, and everybody else that we don't know by name. It's just been a blessing to us. Amen. And I think we collectively just say thank you. Hope you forgive us for keeping you up so late. No, it's worth it. People who have been with us at HMT. They know about this. Lastly, before Dr. Sunday Adelaja leaves, we've had all these birthday things. I never had hip 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 hooray. So can we do hip 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 hooray? Hip 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 hooray! Hip 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 hooray! Thank you so much, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good rest, because when we start tomorrow morning, it's a roller coaster again. Well, not all of you. Everybody who is starting tomorrow.
Tomorrow, except from 10.
Yes, from 10 or 11.